Chapter 1377. The two people he had sent to follow her had lost all contact a few days ago. Qi Wuxiu knew very well what this meant. This meant that his men had been captured by the police or army of Country A. But Tang Boyang, this useless person, did not tell him anything in advance. He couldn't even figure out the background of a little girl. What? Tang Boyang did not expect Qi Wuxiu's men to be captured. Roland, I'll give you another chance. Find out who's around Bai Yunj. With that, Qi Wuxiu hung up. Meanwhile, Tang Boyang's mind was in a mess as he held the phone in a daze. There was actually someone by Bai Yunj's side that Qi Wuxiu was afraid of. Monday. Wang Huiying and the rest's faces darkened because they could not make an appointment with Higgins and Fernandes. However, at the same time, Wang Guanchen, who was desperately trying to find trouble with Bai Yunj, could not find her either. In the laboratory. Why are you here today? Si Qingyan was doing an experiment when he stopped and glanced at her from the corner of his eye. You don't have class today. I told Professor Huang that you asked me for help, Bai Yunj said naturally as she lay on Si Qingyan's couch. Si Qingyan paused. Was this something a human would do? With Huang Sui's temper, wouldn't he come over to settle the score with him? Si Qingyan took a deep breath and decided to change the topic. Do you know that someone from Continent K is here? I heard that even the people from Laboratory 191 are here. Bai Yunj stopped flipping through the electronic documents. 191. Si Qingyan thought that Bai Yunj did not know about Laboratory 191 and explained, it's the number 1 laboratory in Continent K, didn't you know about it when you went to K University? Bai Yunj nodded vaguely. Recently, the people from Laboratory 191 had been chasing her closely, especially the head of the Shi family in Oz. They were afraid that the Wang family would usurp the throne and ask her every day when she would return to Continent K to hold the succession ceremony. At the thought of this, Bai Yunj's eyelids twitched. She decided to avoid the people from Laboratory 191. However, no matter how hard Bai Yunj tried to avoid it, trouble would still come knocking on her door. Noon. Bai Yunj had just eaten with Song Yao in the canteen when a few people suddenly sat beside them. Wang Guanchen placed the plate on the table, crossed his legs and sat beside Bai Yunj, eating in big mouthfuls. Bai Yunj, who have you been hiding from recently? Listen to Yen. Opposite him, Song Yao stopped her chopsticks and looked at Wang Guanchen with a strange gaze. This was the first time she had met someone who dared to provoke Bai Yunj. As expected. She turned around and saw Bai Yunj exchanging glances with her. Bai Yunj said slowly, let's talk after dinner. This sentence was obviously directed at Song Yao. Wang Guanchen thought that Bai Yunj was afraid of him and was tactfully giving in to him. Sure, but classmate Pai, remember what you said. Don't hide from me. The arrogance on Wang Guanchen's face made the corners of Lu Yuanxi and Chu Zhixing's mouths twitch. Where did this confidence come from? Hearing this, Bai Yunj lost her appetite. Hide from you. Bai Yunj looked up at Wang Guanchen and seemed to have suddenly remembered something. Her beautiful eyes curled up. Ah, I almost forgot. So is it the Wang family in Continent K, that freeloader? Instantly. The smug look on Wang Guanchen's face froze with the atmosphere. End of chapter. Chapter 1378. Wang Guanchen's expression darkened bit by bit. Pei, Yun, Go. These 3 words seemed to be squeezed out from between his teeth. Bai Yunj slowly raised his eyebrows and continued to add fuel to the fire. Are you used to the food in Yun University? Will student Wang have indigestion? He was mocking Wang Guanchen's family for being addicted to living off women and stabbing a knife into their hearts. Bai Yunj put down his chopsticks and left with the plate. Eat slowly. Song Yao and the rest left as well. At this moment, Wang Guanshan's expression was already dark as he knocked over the plate angrily and kicked the table, causing a moment of silence and onlookers in the canteen. But no one dared to go up and talk to him. In the afternoon, Bai Yunj had just called Lin Longjun and confirmed that Lin Longjun was progressing smoothly. She had already controlled the spread of the virus and felt much more relieved. However, she did not expect to see Sun Jumping on the other side making a call when she hung up the call. However, the other party on the phone was obviously angry. She could only hear Sun Jumping coaxing this ancestor. Be good, don't be angry. Grandpa is already preparing to go to the hospital to see you. The toys and snacks you wanted are all in my hands now. Bai Yunj looked up and saw Sun Jiaping holding a pile of things in his hands. He could only use his neck and shoulder to hold the phone, but some snacks still fell to the ground. I don't care. You have to come and see me within an hour. The person on the other end of the line said angrily in a childish voice before hanging up the phone. At this moment, Sun Jiaping staggered and the glass bottle of milk he was holding fell. His expression changed. Just as his mind was in a mess from anxiety, a fair and delicate hand caught the milk steadily. Sun Jiaping heaved a sigh of relief. When he looked up and saw Bai Yunj, he immediately smiled and said, "Student Pei, thank you so much. Why is Professor Sun carrying so many things?" Bai Yunj picked up the toys from the ground. It's all because of that little ancestor. She wants these things no matter what. I have to send them to the hospital quickly, Sun Jiaping said helplessly. Bai Yunj was silent for a moment. I'll go with you. How can you do that? Sun Jiaping frowned and rejected. But you can't carry so many things. Bai Yunj glanced at her watch and raised her eyebrows slightly. I'm free until 5:00 in the afternoon. Didn't you say that you wanted me to meet her? Sun Jiaping agreed and talked to Bai Yunj about Jingjing along the way. Bai Yunj didn't show any signs of impatience, but occasionally chimed in. When they entered the hospital, before they even pushed open the door to the ward, they could already hear the voices inside. Stupid. How are you going to teach me if you don't even know this? She sounded like a delicate and willful little girl. Bai Yunj's eyelids twitched, and she followed Sun Jiaping inside. Jingjing, you can't do this to brother Huang Qian. Sun Jiaping reprimanded her. Jingjing pursed her lips, and her eyes were full of pride. I didn't say anything wrong. I don't need him to teach me these things. I just asked him a question and he couldn't answer it. If he's not an idiot, then what is he? The little girl was indeed very smart, probably because of her father's excellent genes. Huang Qian, who was next to her, was extremely embarrassed. He exchanged glances with Bai Yunj and recognized Bai Yunj. Hello, Junior. Bai Yunj nodded as a greeting. Under Sun Jiaping's hospitality, she just sat by the side and played computer games. When Jingjing saw that Bai Yunj didn't even look at her, she was inexplicably angry. P.S. 3 more chapters. Chapter 1379. Jingjing sulked and played with the Rubik's Cube. When Sun Jiaping went out to get the medicine, Huang Qian also went out to avoid him. Thus, he could only let Bai Yunj stay. Jingjing is smarter than her father. It's my fault for not teaching her well. She has no manners at all, Sun Jiaping said apologetically. Huang Qian shook his head awkwardly. Sister Jingjing is smart. I really don't have anything to teach her. Sun Jiaping was also worried. It's good to be smart. No one can control her. She's lawless. In the past, when Jingjing's illness was not serious, he had also hired a teacher to teach her. In the end, they all retreated with pale faces and even returned the deposit. When Huang Qian heard this, he remembered that Bai Yunj was looking after Jingjing. He began to worry nervously, Would Junior Pei be tormented by this little princess who deliberately made things difficult for her? At the same time, the ward was completely silent. Jing Jing could not take it anymore and started to lose her temper. You're all idiots. Bei Yunja's eyelids twitched. She just glanced at her indifferently and continued with her work. Jing Jing was speechless. For the first time, she realized that her aggression was so weak. Jing Jing said, "Only idiots play computer games every day." The aggressiveness of this sentence was even more obvious. Indeed, it attracted Bei Yunja's attention. However, when Bei Yunja's eyes really landed on her, the little girl knew that she was afraid. It was as if someone who did not like to bother with the little rascal was provoked one day. When Jing Jing saw Bei Yunj walk over, she slowly picked up the test paper on the table. What? I don't want you to teach me how to do my homework. I can do it. Jing Jing said confidently. However, the next moment, she saw Bei Yunj roll the test paper into a stick and then hit her head. Little rascal, don't you have any manners? After being taught a lesson, Jing Jing immediately exploded. What are you doing? Bei Yunj said lazily, I'm trying to see if I can make you smarter. When the little girl heard this, she was furious and kept silent for a long time. Then, she asked incredulously, are you saying that I'm stupid? Obviously, this was the first time the little girl had suffered such a great humiliation. After Jingjing came to her senses, she chuckled, the knowledge of these questions, you all learned it when you went to college. I am only a junior high school student now. Upon hearing this, Bei Yunja's beautiful eyes twinkled as she stared straight at her. After a while, he poked her forehead with his index finger. You're that good. It was the first time that Jingjing had seen someone who was more beautiful than on TV, not to mention Bei Yunja's pair of seductive foxy eyes. Almost no one could look at her with a smile for more than 10 seconds. In an instant, his face turned red. Jingjing pursed her light pink lips, and her small hand could not help but grab the small quilt. She said in a fierce voice, Grandpa said that my illness will be cured, and I will become a very powerful researcher. She looked up at Bei Yunj and said, everyone will treat me well and protect me. I'm a genius that everyone is fighting for. In the past 2 days, there were indeed people who understood the situation. They called and prepared to transfer Jingjing to the military hospital. Really? Why do geniuses need to be protected? Bei Yunja's words made Jing Jing pause for a moment. She was speechless for a moment. Because, child, if someone protects you at all costs, it is not because you are very powerful, but because you carry the hopes of many people. Bei Yunj smiled and pinched her cheek as a punishment. Chapter 1380. Jingjing was also inexplicably afraid of this strange person. The person in front of her was different from Sun Jiaping's former students. She was not easy to deal with and was not easy to understand. No, as a researcher, you will be respected by many people and have a lot of money to spend. Brother Tang Qing went to country R and has endless money to spend. Jingjing's eyes were full of desire. As long as I grow up, I can support Grandpa. Grandpa won't have to be talked about by those students behind his back. Professor Sun won't go to country R. Bei Yunj began to peel the apple slowly. Why? Jingjing stared at Bei Yunj with resentment in her eyes. Professor Sun's father was detained abroad for 10 years. In the end, he sneaked back to China. After Bei Yunj finished speaking, Jingjing thought Bei Yunj would hand her the peeled apple, but she saw Bei Yunj eating it by herself. Jingjing, you have time to drive people away, but you don't have time to get yourself an apple. After saying that, Bei Yunj went out to answer a phone call. She didn't do anything, but she had the hot-tempered little girl under control. Bad woman. Jingjing was very angry. She seemed to have suddenly thought of an idea, and her eyes were shining. After a while, Bei Yunj returned to the ward and found that the person on the bed was gone. This little girl needs to be taught a lesson. Downstairs. Jingjing avoided the crowd and breathed the fresh air in the garden. While the security guards were not paying attention, she quickly ran out of the hospital. How is she good? How can she teach me a lesson? Jingjing thought that Bei Yunj might be scolded by Sun Jiaping because she went missing. She immediately felt relieved. Let Bei Yunj teach her a lesson. However, Jingjing jumped to the roadside stall to buy snacks, but she didn't notice that someone had been following her for a long time. When she walked to a place where there was no one, she suddenly heard a voice behind her. Jingjing. Hearing this familiar voice, Jingjing suddenly turned pale and dropped the chocolate ice cream she secretly bought. It seems that Sun Jiaping, that old fart, has raised you well. A ruffian youth with two burly strangers beside him. But I'm still your cousin. How about you go back and have a chat with your cousin? Go away. Jingjing took a step back. Her eyes were red. If it weren't for Sun Jiaping, Jingjing would have been sold by this rogue cousin who only knew how to drink and gamble. How long can that old fart take care of you? Xiang Jing, don't forget your surname just because your parents are dead. You don't know what's good for you. See how I'll deal with you. The young man's face darkened, and he stepped forward to grab Xiang Jing. You really don't know what you are, do you? The young man had just pushed Xiang Jing to the ground and grabbed her collar, wanting to teach her a lesson. Suddenly, a voice sounded around them. Yo, it's quite lively here. Xiang Jing's eyes were filled with fear and tears. When she heard the voice, she turned her head hopefully, but she didn't expect it to be Bei Yunj. Who are you? I'm warning you, don't meddle in other people's business. The young man was on guard and grabbed Xiang Jing's collar. He wasn't so stupid that he couldn't be saved. He could see that the sloppy person in front of him was more or less dangerous. I'm looking after this child. Now I have to take him back to report. Bei Yunj looked at his watch and said slowly. One of the people on the other side was stunned. He said greedily, Brother Xiang, the watch in that woman's hand seems to be worth tens of millions. Chapter 1381. Really? The young man did not expect that his little cousin would know such a rich person. He immediately stared at Bei Yunj enviously. Really? I saw the news last time. Even if you want to fake this watch, you can't do it. The young man was instantly tempted, but he also began to make an abacus without batting an eyelid. You can have my sister if you want. As long as you give me that watch, I won't disturb her in the future. What was a watch? This woman was so rich. If he kidnapped her, wouldn't he be able to get a few 100 million yuan? When the time came, he would take the money and hide abroad. Who would be able to catch him? Okay. Bei Yunj agreed very easily, but Xiang Jing stared at Bei Yunj with red eyes. Turn around now, take off the watch, raise your hands, and kneel down. Do you hear me? The young man pointed at Bei Yunj and ordered her arrogantly. When Bei Yunj heard this, the corners of her lips curled up lazily. The next moment, Bei Yunj turned around calmly, lowered her head, and began to take off the watch slowly. This action was slow and pleasing to the eye, but the three hooligans could not wait any longer. They could not help but sneak behind Bei Yunj. Hurry up. Raise your hands and kneel down. Jing was shocked by this fierce voice and her whole body trembled. She blamed herself and tears fell down her face. Sister, then. Xiang Jing saw Bei Yunj holding the watch that she took off with one hand, lazily raising both her hands as if she was surrendering, and slowly half kneeling down on one knee. However, Just as the other party's eyes were greedy and fierce, and they wanted to take the opportunity to snatch the watch and kidnap Bae Yunj, a cold and ruthless look flashed across Bae Yunj's eyes, as if she had sensed the movement behind her. Before the others could react, Bae Yunj suddenly turned around and quickly swept her leg towards the other party's head. Then, she grabbed the other person's collar with one hand and kneed his abdomen. His movements were smooth and fluid, all done in one go. Before the others could react, they saw Bae Yunj pull out a cold dagger from his waist and point the tip of the dagger at the person beside Xiang Jing. Her eyes were cold and she asked leisurely, "What should I do? Do I regret it again?" However, at this time, the three people's legs were already weak and their backs were cold. They had bullied the weak and feared the strong, but this was the first time they met with such a hard nail. What do you want?" Bae Yunj's tone was quite gentle as she smiled. "Nothing. I just want to remove some obstacles for our harmonious socialist path." But compared to a normal threat, this sounded even more frightening. "Don't come over." After the three strong-looking men finished speaking, they were scared out of their wits and staggered away, calm. She turned her head instinctively. She saw Bae Yunj slowly pick up a thick and long branch from the side. It looked like a thin stick used to hit people. "It's done." Bae Yunj held the branch with one hand. "Xiang Jing?" Then, she saw Bae Yunj use the half-meter-long thick branch to pat the palm of her other hand. This action was inexplicably scary. She chuckled and looked at her again. A cold glint appeared in her eyes as she asked in a calm tone. "Isn't it your turn now, Xiang Jing?" Chapter 1382. Sister, Xiang Jing was inexplicably terrified. One could hear the timidity in her voice. She reminded her sister softly, "It's against the law to hit someone." "Yes, I haven't drunk tea in the police station in this area." Bae Yunj sneered and walked towards her. The person who had just wanted to remove obstacles for a harmonious society changed her attitude faster than flipping a book. "Sister, I'm wrong." Xiang Jing suddenly pounced on Bae Yunj and started to cry in a childish voice. "Boo-hoo, I'm really wrong." The atmosphere was silent for a long time. Just when Xiang Jing thought that Bae Yunj's heart softened, she heard the other party's clear and cold voice. "Are you going to wipe your snot and tears on my body?" Xiang Jing, why was this woman so stubborn? Not long after, when Sun Jiaping returned to the ward, he found that his little granddaughter was very obedient. She sat on the bed and did her homework. She didn't even raise her head. However, the atmosphere was a little strange. "Professor Sun, I have something to do, so I'll go back first." After Bae Yunj finished speaking, Sun Jiaping nodded and watched as she left without looking back. Xiang Jing immediately threw away the pen in her hand. "Grandpa, is she the school bully in your school?" Xiang Jing's eyes were full of curiosity. "Sun Jiaping, where did she learn this word from?" He suddenly thought of the situation at the hotel and asked, "What did she do?" Xiang Jing felt guilty. She didn't dare to say that Bae Yunj helped her teach the bad guys a lesson when she ran out blindly. "It's just that I think this sister is very powerful." Sun Jiaping and Huang Qian were very surprised. Xiang Jing had been arrogant since she was young. Other than Sun Jiaping, she was arrogant and rude to everyone. However, he never thought that he would sincerely praise Bae Yunj for being amazing. Jing, she's the top scorer in the college entrance examination of our University. She participated in the postgraduate competition when she was in her first year. Sun Jiaping laughed. Xiang Jing was unhappy. What's so great about that? But brother Huang Qian is just a doctoral student. He's not that powerful. Huang Qian, did they have to drag him out and whip his corpse? Silly girl, when Bei Yunj participated in the postgraduate exchange competition, there were two, but, students. Sun Jiaping scratched her nose. His students are all top geniuses. She beat the student. Xiang Jing was in disbelief and became agitated. How is this possible? In Xiang Jing's heart, this was a belief that could not be defeated. Even if it was his student, he should not be defeated so easily. Huang Qian sighed as well. I graduated from Hengde as well. I heard from Hengde's teachers that Pei Qian's grades weren't good at other high schools, but ever since she entered Hengde, she's become the top student. I think it might be because classmate Pei loves to fight too much. She used to treat this as her main job. Otherwise, he wouldn't have ended up repeating a year. Xiang Jing, just how much did he love fighting? Grandpa, can I go to Yun University to play with Sister Pei? Xiang Jing couldn't help but ask. She did not believe that Bei Yunj was so powerful. Sure, wait for Jing Jing's treatment to be over. No. Didn't you say that she'll be transferred to another hospital in 2 days? Grandpa, let me go look for Sister Pei tomorrow. Sun Jiaping had no choice but to agree. However, Huang Qian's scalp went numb. He had a feeling that Xiang Jing was up to something. The next day, Bei Yunj was still staying in the dormitory of Yun University. She didn't expect to receive a knock on her door early in the morning. She suppressed the impatience in her eyes and opened the door to see a small figure. Chapter 1383. Xiang Jing's eyes were bright. She was wearing a beautiful dress and hugging a long-eared rabbit plushie. Sister, before she could finish speaking. The door was suddenly closed by the person with a dark expression. Because the soundproofing of the dormitory door was not very good, they could still hear the commotion inside. Who is it? Someone asked curiously. Bei Yunj's voice trailed over. I don't know. Xiang Jing was speechless. How could someone be so unreasonable? Fortunately, not long after, a beautiful and gentle-looking sister from Xiang Jing opened the door. Are you here to look for someone? Song Yao's lips were curved. She was wearing a light-colored sweater and her eyes made one feel comfortable. It was a pity that there was an emotionless woman beside her. Why did you let her in? Bei Yunj's tone was still a little unhappy, but her slanted eyes looked excessively beautiful. Song Yao handed snacks to Xiang Jing. She just woke up and is like this. Xiang Jing really did not understand why such a good-tempered sister would be related to Bei Yunj. Thank you, sister. Are you Song Yao? I've seen your drama. Yes. Song Yao replied with a smile, the dimples on her cheeks faintly visible. Bei Yunj turned around and saw Song Yao giving all the snacks she had bought for her to Xiang Jing. Song Yao asked with a smile, are you here to look for Yunj? Xiang Jing nodded. Grandpa said that there's an exchange competition in school recently. There seem to be many people from Continent K. Will Sister Pei participate? Xiang Jing really wanted to see if Bei Yunj was as capable as Grandpa said. Song Yao said, I don't think so. Don't tell me you're scared. After Xiang Jing muttered, Bei Yunj had already glanced at her coldly. Xiang Jing immediately shrank towards Song Yao. Bei Yunj snorted. You still know how to hide. Hearing this, Song Yao, who was scaring the child again, was speechless. Then why aren't you participating in the competition? Grandpa said that you're very good. Those people from Continent K must want to compete with you. Xiang Jing had guessed correctly. These few days, people from Continent K had been looking for her everywhere. Wang Guanchen wanted to find Bei Yunj and take revenge on Bei Yunj. There were also people sent by Patriarch Shi to search for Bei Yunj's whereabouts. They wanted to bring her back to Continent K to hold the succession ceremony. Am I very free? After Bei Yunj finished speaking, Xiang Jing also felt that Bai Yunj made a lot of sense. Until the afternoon. She was brought to a movie and dinner by Song Yao and Bai Yunj. Xiang Jing felt as if a fishbone was stuck in his throat. He looked at Bai Yunj with condemnation in his eyes. Don't you have nothing better to do? But not long after. The class president of Bai Yunj called and said that the school was organizing a group of students to watch the competition and learn from each other. They had to go back, but Xiang Jing was very happy. However, in the Yun University competition venue, the atmosphere was a bit tense. The students from Continent K all had arrogant and mocking expressions on their faces. How many competitions have there been? Yun University hasn't even won a single competition. What's the point? That's right. A few days ago, I even heard Sun Jiaping from the physics department and Si Qingyan from the computing department mocking our Professor Wang. This made me think that they were very capable. I didn't expect them to be a bunch of boastful paper tigers. The students of K University deliberately raised their voices to mock them so that many people could hear them clearly. The students of Yun University had always been the top students that others called top students. They had never been mocked like this before. Sun Jiaping doesn't have much ability to begin with. He's just an old good-for-nothing. Wang Guanchen's voice suddenly sounded. And these words were heard by Xiang Jing and Song Yao, who had just entered. Xiang Jing was furious and rushed forward. You're the good-for-nothing. Trash. Where did you get the cheek to talk about my grandfather? Wang Guanchen's expression was extremely ugly when he was suddenly scolded by a little girl. But soon, Song Yao appeared in front of him. Student Wang should know that you scolded a professor for no reason. If the situation is serious, you will be punished. Wang Guanchen found it ridiculous. Punishment? Did I say something wrong? Hearing this, Xiang Jing almost pounced on Wang Guanchen and bit a piece of meat, but Song Yao grabbed her tightly. If student Wang really doesn't like Yun University, why are you still here? Hearing this, Wang Guanchen's expression darkened. Song Yao, you're really no different from Bai Yunj. Do you think Bai Yunj can protect you? Let me tell you, she will be completely finished this time. So will you. After Wang Guanchen laughed coldly, he said to Mr. K, ignore that old man. It's more important for you to win the competition. Guanchen, I thought you had a good relationship with the people from Yun University. I didn't expect you to be on our side, K University student teased. My sister is your professor. Who can compare to my sister? Wang Guanchen raised his chin and went to K University's resting area. I know my grandfather is hated by many people. Xiang Jing lowered her head and bit her lip. But it's all because of me. If it wasn't for her treatment, Sun Jiaping wouldn't be thinking about how to earn money every day. Jingjing, that's why you have to grow up well. Song Yao rubbed her head again and smirked. Don't worry, Yun University will win the next competition. Jingjing looked up at Song Yao and then at the competition stage. This time, it was the computing department. Jingjing's eyes widened when she saw someone. Jian Shi. Jian Shi was a famous genius in the computing department. Not only Jingjing, but everyone else was also excited when they saw Jian Shi. When Jian Shi was in Yun University, she could be said to be the tyrant of the computing department. When did Senior Jian come back? Everyone was overjoyed. Even Qing Zihuai, who was participating behind Jian Shi, was completely overshadowed. It's good that she's back. I want to see if the students from K University are so capable. It's true if they can win against our senior Jian. Wang Huiying noticed the cheers and glanced at Jian Shi with a frown. Who is that person? The people from Yun University seem to like her a lot. Wang Guanchen paused. Why is she back? It was only when Wang Huiying looked at him that he immediately said, it's Jian Shi. She's a famous genius of Yun University. according to my friend in Neely. Not only is she the niece of Marcus, the director of the computing institute in our nation, but she's also a student of. Even the others sucked in a breath of cold air when they heard about this background. Marcus's niece, a student of. Was this someone who had won at the starting line since she was born? Wang Huiying's eyes darkened as well, as if she was facing a formidable enemy. Ing na, he Xian, go and test her standards. Yes. The students who were sent did not dare to slack off. However, under the anxious atmosphere, no one expected Jian Shi to win so easily. Seeing this scene, someone felt a chill run down the back of their heads. She's still a student of, the little devil taught by the big devil. The pressure she gave off when she crashed the competition was the same. Oh, the students of K University are so weak. Professor C even called me back. Isn't it interesting? Jian Shi was not someone who would forgive others, especially after being instigated by Si Qingyan, who said that the people of K University were finding trouble with her teacher every day. Chapter 1384. Jian Shi patted her skirt. Hurry up, don't waste time. I still have homework from the teacher. The computer science students really wanted to brag about their senior Jian Shi. After not seeing her for a year, Jian Shi was still the god of the computer science department. Meanwhile, the people from K University looked embarrassed. Wang Huiying took a deep breath and did not want to argue with Wang Huiying directly. Don't be nervous. It's okay if you can't win. There's still a physics competition. The other students were indignant, but they could only nod. However, they still lost badly in the next 2 rounds. The final score between K University and Yun University, 0-7. The students of Yun University cheered and jumped for joy. Even the professors were beaming with joy and their faces were rosy. Si Qingyan sighed. It seems like she's really good. Jian Shi's improvement was godly. Professor C, what are you talking about? Si Qingyan said. Nothing. On the competition stage. The students of K University were suffering like never before. When did Yun University have such a terrifying student? After the competition ended. Wang Huiying asked the students to prepare for the next competition. To prevent such a situation from happening again, she even stuffed 2 young members of the 191st laboratory with unfamiliar faces. However, she did not expect Jian Shi to compete in the next physics competition. Wang Huiying slapped the armrest of the chair and gritted her teeth. Why is it her again? It's okay. Jian Shi studies computing. It's useless for her to compete in the physics competition, the K University teacher comforted her. However, half an hour after the start of the competition, it proved that his idea was wrong. Even the physics students of K University and the 2 young members of the 191st laboratory were not enough in Jian Shi's hands. So far, K University had only obtained 1 point. What should we do? If this continues, we'll definitely lose again. The K University teacher panicked. Wang Huiying's face darkened, and Wang Guanchen was in disbelief. Sister, what should we do? We can't let them continue to win. Shut up. Wang Huiying scolded impatiently and took a deep breath. Get Meng Xingyun over. Her eyes were cold. Soon. Meng Xingyun arrived on stage. Wang Huiying chatted with him briefly and asked him to go back to the competition. However, no one noticed that one of the students who had spoken to Meng Xingyun had quietly gone backstage. At this very moment, there were only 2 people in the backstage control room. One was a student from Yun University, and the other was a student from K University. After receiving the message, K University student's eyes flashed and he left when no one was paying attention. Are you sure you want this answer? The K University students were having a private conversation in the corridor. It's just a competition. We can afford to lose. Jian, she is back. Until now, our K University hasn't gotten a single point. If this goes on, won't K University become a joke? That person suppressed his voice, but he gritted his teeth as he listened. All right. K University student sent him the questions he had secretly taken. However, no one noticed that there was a small figure following them. Soon, the second match began. However, the situation had changed. K University student could always blurt out the answer accurately before Jian she could answer. The two teams were now neck and neck. The corners of Wang Huiying's lips slowly curled up as she pondered over how to pass the last question she had set to her student. She held the answer and steps of the question in her hands. Just as she was about to go over, a small figure appeared out of nowhere. Wang Huiying frowned in pain, but she quickly realized that Xiang Jing was picking up the note on the ground. Her gaze was cold as she stepped on Xiang Jing's hand with her high heels. What are you doing? Chapter 1385. Xiang Jing's face was pale from the pain and she could only look up at her stubbornly. You cheated. You're cheating. I saw it. Wang Huiying's gaze turned even colder, but she exerted more strength under her feet. She asked with a smile, what nonsense are you talking about? Professor Wang. Song Yao's voice sounded and her usually gentle eyes lost their warmth. She looked at Wang Huiying, who was stepping on Xiang Jing's hand expressionlessly. Xiang Jing suddenly screamed. Her face was pale, but she insisted on not letting go of the note. Song Yao pursed her lips. Professor Wang, I'm sorry. With that said, Song Yao suddenly pushed Wang Huiying. Wang Huiying's expression changed. If it wasn't for the person supporting her from behind, she would have fallen to the ground. Song Yao, what are you doing? Wang Guanchen's face was dark and ruthless as he stared at her with his hawk-like sharp eyes. The note, before Xiang Jing could be happy, someone appeared behind her and suddenly took her away. What are you all arguing about? The dean of K University tore the note into pieces and reprimanded with a cold expression. Are the students of Yun University so unreasonable? It's you. You're cheating. Xiang Jing could no longer suppress the grievance and anger in her heart. Tears fell as she pointed at them. Shameless. You beat us by cheating. Song Yao wanted to take Xiang Jing to the infirmary, but Xiang Jing refused to listen. Sister, they're cheating. This group of people are cheating. Zhou Guanchen suddenly mocked. Oh, I was wondering who it was. Isn't this Professor Sun Zheping's granddaughter? Hearing this, Wang Huiying only glanced at Xiang Jing and walked in front of Song Yao. She stared at her and said calmly, Song Yao, right? I want to see if you can continue to stay here. With that said, Wang Huiying turned around and left. However, Wang Guanchen laughed coldly and actually walked in front of Song Yao. He raised his hand and suddenly slapped Song Yao. At this moment, even the Yun University students beside Wang Guanchen froze. This was Song Yao. Was it all right for Wang Guanchen to provoke Bei Yunj like this? B***TCH, how dare you hit my sister? After saying this, Xiang Jing couldn't help but get angry. She suddenly grabbed Wang Guanchen's hand and bit it hard. Wang Guanchen didn't hesitate. His face turned ferocious and he wanted to slap Xiang Jing too. However, Chu Zhixing and Lu Yuanzi, who had just arrived, immediately stopped him. What the hell? Are you hitting a child here? Lu Yuanzi's eyes were cold. When his eyes met the slap on Song Yao's face, he froze. Sister Yao, your face, after all, it was the strength of an adult man. Song Yao could not stop him at all. Everything happened too suddenly. After Song Yao regained her senses, she could only ask, "Can you send Xiang Jing to the infirmary?" *CK, he even hit a girl. Lu Yunci was furious. But in the next moment, a voice sounded not far away. "What are you guys doing? I asked you to buy something for me. Are you avoiding me?" Bai Yunj chewed her gum and looked at Lu Yunci and Chu Zhixing, who were standing out in the crowd, with a faint smile. Lu Yunci couldn't suppress his anger and asked with a fake smile, "Bai Yunj, your Tian Tian has been bullied and you're still asking me for food?" However, the meaning of this sentence in the ears of the couple fans was, "Your wife has been bullied and you still have the cheek to eat." Just as expected. The casual smile on Bai Yunj's face disappeared and her eyes seemed to be covered with a layer of coldness as she walked quickly in front of them. When Bai Yunj saw the red mark on Song Yao's face, the anger in his eyes could not be suppressed and he suddenly asked with a smile, "Who the *CK hit you?" Chapter 1386. It was almost everyone's first time hearing Bai Yunj scold her like this and they were quite angry. Bai Yunj turned around and glanced at everyone. Her faint smile made people's scalps turn numb. "What do you mean? Do you think I'm dead?" "Yunj," Song Yao grabbed Bai Yunj's hand but struggled free silently. Bai Yunj walked in front of Wang Guanchen. "Is that you?" Wang Guanchen was still reckless and arrogant. "What's wrong?" "She was disrespectful to my sister just now." Before he could finish speaking, Bai Yunj suddenly raised her leg and kicked him in the chest. Wang Guanchen was like a broken kite as he flew back 1 to 2 meters. Then his face turned pale and his expression was ferocious as he clutched his chest in pain. It was obvious that he did not expect Bai Yunj to be so daring. "Student Wang, I think I'm starting to like you a little." Bai Yunj looked down carelessly and snorted. She walked over and squatted down, patting his face lightly. "I like you so much that I'm starting to think about which cemetery in Yunqing you should lie in." There was a unique friendliness in her clear voice, but it made people's hair stand on end. Someone come quickly." Wang Guanchen was so scared that his body turned cold. However, before he could call for help, Bai Yunj suddenly stood up and stepped on his forearm mercilessly. The sound of bones breaking was crisp and Wang Guanchen's scream made people's backs turn cold. However, Bai Yunj only used the soles of her feet to slowly crush him. She smiled slowly and asked, "Classmate Wang, can we talk some sense into each other?" This scene was traumatizing to the onlookers. Was there someone who broke someone's hand while asking if they could be reasonable? At this moment, even Xiang Jing could not help but look at her injured hand, then at Wang Guanchen, who was not far away. Her scalp turned numb. She suddenly realized how arrogant she had been in front of Bai Yunj in the past, testing the edge of danger. Won't sister be expelled? Chu Zhixing and Lu Yunci stopped Song Yao and did not let her see this bloody scene. Chu Zhixing nodded. "If you drop out of school, you'll be forced to inherit billions of assets." Xiang Jing, at first, Wang Guanchen was in so much pain that he couldn't react. Only when he felt that his bones were about to be crushed did he suddenly nod his head. Bai Yunj tilted her head and smiled lazily. She continued, "Actually, I usually break one of Miss Song's hands if someone touches her face. Tell me, how should I greet you?" Wang Guanchen was in so much pain that his whole body was trembling. His eyes were full of fear, and he could not make a sound from his throat. Bai Yunj's lips curved into a smile as if she was trying to negotiate with him. Crippled one hand. That's not enough, right? When the surrounding people saw this scene, no one dared to intervene. Everyone knew that they could touch anyone in Yun University, but not Song Yao. Besides, many people in school had a good impression of Song Yao. To the extent that there were even some students who coincidentally blocked the scene in the name of being spectators. When Wang Huiying heard the news, Wang Guanchen was almost beaten to death. Professor Wang, bad news. A student from Yun University hit Brother Chin. What? Wang Huiying's expression changed. She threw the glass of water on the table and rushed over. Who's courting death? How dare they hit someone from the Wang family in broad daylight? Wang Huiying looked at the dense crowd and gritted her teeth. Get lost. Chapter 1387. When Wang Huiying pushed through the crowd, Bai Yunj had a baseball bat in one hand and a baseball in the other. The baseball bat was still pressed against Wang Guanchen's back. Are you crazy? Who did this? How dare you touch someone from the Wang family? After Wang Huiying finished speaking, she stared at Bai Yunj's back view gloomily. She didn't recognize any familiarity. Miss Wang, you're here. When she heard this familiar voice, Wang Huiying froze. Then, she saw Bai Yunj slowly turn around. It's you, Wang Huiying's pupils shrank. Her anger dissipated instantly and was replaced by fear. She shook her head crazily and said, Impossible. You're not a student of Yun University. I've never seen you in the computer science department. Who said I'm in the computer science department? Bai Yunj kicked Wang Guanchen slowly in front of her. He looked unscrupulous and said, Didn't your good brother tell you that I'm in the physics department? What? Wang Huiying's face turned pale. The people around them were even more confused. No one could understand the situation. Professor Wang, who had always been arrogant, seemed to be an old acquaintance of Bai Yunj. It was obvious that Wang Huiying was afraid of Bai Yunj. Sister, when she heard Wang Guanchen's voice, Wang Huiying calmed down and said, Bai Yunj, you're just a student. How dare you hit someone? You're a professor, so you can step on a child's hand. Lu Yuanci mocked. Bai Yunj looked at Xiang Jing and saw that her hand was injured. Wang Huiying, you're capable now, aren't you? Bai Yunj's voice was ambiguous, but it made people feel fearful. Wang Huiying was also inexplicably afraid. She took a step back and swallowed her saliva. Bai Yunj, you don't do anything rash. Wang Huiying was saved by the arrival of the principal of Yun University and a few professors. What's going on here? I heard that there's a fight here. The principal looked at the scene and met Bai Yunj's harmless eyes. All right. He knew who it was. The principal took a deep breath. Bai Yunj, are you fighting again? Bai Yunj said lazily, Am I fighting? Everyone present was silent. The principal pointed at Wang Guanchen on the ground. What's wrong with him? Student Wang, are you fighting with me? Bai Yunj looked at him indifferently and asked. The crowd was strangely silent. Indeed, he didn't. Wang Guanchen didn't even have a chance to fight back. How could it be called a fight? Wang Guanchen had been beaten half to death. Under Bai Yunj's gentle gaze, his words were stuck in his throat. Bai Yunj was the best at using violence to curb violence. Bai Yunj, don't be too arrogant. Wang Huiying was so angry that her whole body was trembling. She wanted to rush up and tear Bai Yunj apart. Professor Wang, please calm down. The principal's temples were throbbing as he pointed at Bai Yunj. Bai Yunj, do you know how wrong it is to hit someone? Principal, it was Wang Guanchen who hit me first. That's why this happened. Song Ya walked out and openly revealed the bright red palm mark on her face. She pursed her lips. If the school wants to punish Bai Yunj, then I'm her accomplice. The school was already having a headache because of this matter, and after hearing Song Yao's words, it became even worse. Suddenly, the restless person by the side even held Song Yao's hand brazenly. She turned around and smiled lazily. It's so touching, Tian Tian. Song Yao was speechless. Chapter 1388. The atmosphere changed inexplicably. The students at the back all had excited expressions on their faces that said, "I can King get it." The principal's expression darkened. "What are you doing?" Song Yao wanted to break free, but she could not break free from Bei Yunji's hand. This person was an expert at acting shamelessly. "Bei Yunj, come back to the principal's office with me now." With that said, the principal turned around and got someone to help Wang Guanchen up. He asked Wang Huiying and her brother along the way. However, he did not expect Bei Yunj to suddenly pick up the baseball. In the next second, she threw the ball in her hand upwards and swung the bat. It shot towards a certain direction swiftly and accurately. Suddenly, Wang Huiying screamed miserably. She was already holding her swollen and trembling hand as she gritted her teeth and looked at Bei Yunj. "That's enough, Professor Wang. You don't have to apologize this time. I'll take back the interest." Bei Yunj casually placed the baseball bat on her shoulder and raised an eyebrow. Her eyes were playful and cold, but she was indescribably high-spirited. Wang Huiying was so angry that her body was trembling, but her hand hurt so much that she broke out in cold sweat. "Professor Wang, go and deal with it first." The principal was already numb as he looked at Bei Yunj expressionlessly. It was not that he had never seen a troublemaker, but this was the first time he had met someone who would be more aggressive the more they were against someone with a bad status. "Bei Yunj, go to the principal's office and wait for me now. Don't think that I can't do anything to you just because Director Lin went to our nation." The principal was furious and pointed in the direction of the principal's office. Okay. Bei Yunj answered perfunctorily and walked towards the principal's office. "Yunj." Song Yao grabbed Bei Yunj's hand and frowned. If Wang Huiying insisted on this matter, Bei Yunj would not be able to get away so easily. "Don't worry about me. Go and apply it on your face when you're free." Bei Yunj glanced at the red mark on her face and was still a little angry. She was puzzled. She had treated this fellow like an ancestor for such a long time. He couldn't possibly be a bun, right? She suppressed her emotions and suddenly reached out to smooth Song Yao's eyebrows. Her eyes curved. "All right, I'm fine." After Bei Yunj left, Song Yao pursed her lips, her eyes dark. Meanwhile, Lu Yuanxi had just finished his call and said to Song Yao, "It's okay, Yao. My family has some connections with Confederate 191. I've already gotten someone to help." The headmaster's office. Before the principal came, he had already asked the students about what had happened. He knew that Bei Yunj did not cause trouble on purpose. But she did it in front of the whole school. She was simply reckless. "Bei Yunj, do you know that you were wrong?" "Got it." The principal felt even more aggrieved. There was no psychological burden for this person to admit his mistake. Moreover, according to the personalities of the three brothers of the Qin family, they might not come to school to deal with Bei Yunj. They might even come to school to protect their sister. The principal felt suffocated at the thought of that scene. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door and barged in. "Principal, bad news. Student Wang just left the school and was beaten up before she entered the hospital. She was already injured and she was still beaten up." The principal looked at Bei Yunj instinctively with a suspicious expression. Bei Yunj said, "If you think that way, I can't help it." The principal was speechless. All right, then it wasn't Bei Yunj who got someone to do it. At this moment, Wang Huiying also pushed open the door angrily. Her hand was already bandaged. Her expression was dark. "Principal Xiang, aren't you going too far? Can a student lay her hands on a professor from another school?" Chapter 1389. Wang Huiying was anxious to make Bai Yunj pay the price, so she did not go to the hospital. Instead, she watched Wang Guanchen get into the car. She did not expect that someone would dare to hit Wang Guanchen on the road. Even the car that sent Wang Guanchen to the hospital was destroyed. "Professor Wang, don't worry. We will deal with this matter," the principal said hurriedly. "Deal with it? Make her drop out of school." Wang Huiying looked at Bai Yunj with sarcasm in her eyes. "Professor Wang, this is my fault for not teaching my students well. But you know how this matter started." The principal handed a cup of tea to Wang Huiying. But it was obvious that he did not want Bai Yunj to drop out of school just like that. After all, Bai Yunj was in the wrong, but Wang Huiying and Wang Guanchen were the ones who started it first. Wang Huiying took the cup and sneered. "Principal Xiang, do you think I will just let this matter go?" She stared at Bai Yunj with a venomous gaze. "If your school does not deal with this properly, I will report this matter to the higher-ups." Hearing this, the principal's face turned serious. He knew that if this matter was spread, it would be a threat to Bai Yunj. He could only ask Bai Yunj to contact her parents first. "Bai Yunj, call her parents." After that, the principal took the opportunity to pour a cup of water and said in a low voice, "Ask old Master Qin to come." Others might not know how the Qin family rose to power back then, but Principal Xiang clearly remembered that old Master Qin had developed from Continent K. Principal Xiang was personally promoted by Bai Mingzhang, and Lin Lanjun was his senior. In addition, Bai Yunj was a good seedling, so he could not bear to see anything happen to Bai Yunj. Bai Yunj raised her eyebrows. Suddenly, the corners of her lips curled up. She slowly pressed the landline button. After a while, Bai Yunj answered softly. "Okay. I will wait for you in the principal's office." "Okay, got it." After Bai Yunj hung up the phone, her eyelids twitched unconsciously. She rubbed her ears that were numb from the noise. The principal suddenly had a bad feeling and immediately pulled her aside. "Who did you call? We have to solve the problem, do you know that?" "I know." Bai Yunj slowly glanced at Wang Huiying. Suddenly, he chuckled softly. "We do need to solve some problems." A mocking look appeared in Wang Huiying's eyes. The injuries on Wang Guanchen's body were indelible evidence. She wanted to see how long Bai Yunj could be so arrogant. "Bai Yunj, if you drop out of school and apologize to me, I won't hold you responsible. Otherwise..." Wang Huiying raised her chin proudly. "Otherwise, I won't let Song Yao off." "Miss Wang, have you forgotten?" Bai Yunj sneered and suddenly asked slowly. Wang Huiying frowned and looked at her coldly. A short while later, Bai Yunj walked in front of her and placed his hand on her bandaged hand. He lowered his head and slowly tightened his grip. Wang Huiying's face was pale, but the last sentence made her forget to resist. She only heard Bai Yunj's emotionless question, "Isn't it up to me whether Confederation 191 wants to raise a few dogs in the future?" Wang Huiying suddenly remembered. She heard that the head of the Shi family really hoped that Bai Yunj could inherit Confederation 191 this time. And in the scientific research field, it was customary to pass on talents and not direct descendants. Besides, Wang Huiying didn't even have any bloodline of the Shi family. There was no way she could fight for it openly. Bai Yunj. Wang Huiying's eyes were bloodshot. She wanted to kill this person who was always blocking her. P.S. Good night. Chapter 1390. Principal Xiang. Wang Huiying gritted her teeth. She was so angry that she couldn't hide her emotions. "If you really want to cover up for this person, I have nothing to say. But don't forget, it was Zhang Ke who invited you for 5 years just to get this chance to work together." as soon as she finished speaking. The door of the principal's office was pushed open and another person came in. It was Sun Jiaping. "Principal, I've heard about this." Sun Jiaping didn't look too good. He obviously knew that his granddaughter was injured. Seeing this, the principal had a headache. "Professor Sun, don't worry. I'll definitely give you an explanation. I didn't come to you for this." Sun Jiaping said calmly, "My Jingjing never lies." Jingjing said that K University students cheated. "I think she didn't make it up." "What nonsense are you talking about?" Wang Huiying was inexplicably flustered, but she quickly covered it up. She sneered and asked, "Professor Sun, are you using this method to slander K University?" Professor Wang should know very well whether it's slander or not. Sun Jiaping wasn't as modest as usual. Instead, he was so firm as if he was a different person. After all, it was his granddaughter's hand that was stepped on. Sun Jiaping had a good temper, but he wasn't an idiot who would be bullied by others. "You!" Wang Huiying gritted her teeth and glanced at Bai Yunj. The corners of her mouth twitched again. "If that's the case, then I didn't do anything wrong." After that, Wang Huiying took out her phone, swiped open an interface and threw it on the table. After reading it, the principal's face became even more gloomy. Someone anonymously reported that a freshman from the physics department of Yun University had abused a foreign student in school. This incident had become a hot topic. Many people even pointed out that it was the one from the Qin family. Bai Yunj's name was familiar to many experienced netizens. Some people didn't dare to take sides easily. But just 20 minutes ago, K University's official Weibo account accidentally liked this anonymous report. So much so that no one dared to speak up for Bai Yunj. Campus violence. Rich people really don't take crimes seriously. I can testify that someone from Yun University was carried out today. I just happened to see that person being beaten up badly. Why did Yun University accept this kind of person? Yuncheng University, the #1 university in the capital, didn't give any explanation. Confused, 5 people clicked into the hot comments, and 4 of them are Qin Youjiao's fans. They're really at the point of murdering their mothers. I'm being targeted by flies for the rest of my life. Professor Wang, this report doesn't match up with reality, right? As a teacher, how can you do such a thing that is beneath your standing? Principal Xian Ran questioned furiously. What is the actual situation? Wang Huiying smiled and poured herself a cup of tea. Principal Xiang didn't listen to my advice. He's not satisfied with my advice. If we can't reach an agreement on this matter, doesn't that mean I have no other choice? She walked over to Bai Yunj and asked softly, Bai Yunj, how is it? Do you really think that I can't beat you? Bai Yunj looked into her eyes. Are you trying to destroy me? So what if I am? Wang Huiying narrowed her eyes. She knew that if Bai Yunj continued to develop, it would be a great threat to her. She wanted to take advantage of the fact that Bai Yunj was still weak to eliminate the source of trouble. Then I don't like to raise a dog that bites people. After Bai Yunj finished speaking, Wang Huiying's eyes darkened. She was about to speak when suddenly, a group of people rushed in from the door. Bai Yunj. Wang Huiying turned around and was even more surprised when she saw who it was. Why was Elder Yin here? Chapter 1391. Elder Yin. Before Wang Huiying could ask, she saw Elder Hu and Elder Gu beside Elder Yin. Although the 3 of them had accompanied her to Yun City this time, they had always avoided meeting the public. Why did they come in person this time? Wang Huiying frowned. It couldn't be because of Wang Guanqin. Elder Yin, Elder Hu, Elder Gu, I didn't expect you to come. Sorry for not coming out to meet you. Principal Xiang's back was almost wet with sweat. He couldn't figure out why the three of them, who were like founding fathers in Confederation 191, would come to Yun University in person. This time, it would be useless even if Bei Yunj asked Old Master Qin to come. Principal Xiang took a deep breath. He was even more anxious at the thought of Bei Yunj's safety. The outside world had begun to put pressure on Yun University. Now, the three leaders of Confederation 191 had come to Yun University in person. Weren't they being attacked from both sides? This time, I'm not here to chat with Principal Xiang. Elder Yin glanced at the name tag on the table and knew the principal's name. In the eyes of others, Elder Yin was impatient and was ready to start trouble with Bei Yunj. Elder Yin, don't worry. She's just a child. Principal Xiang braced himself and tried to persuade him. Seeing this scene, Wang Huiying's eyes showed sarcasm. She was waiting to see Bei Yunj make a fool of herself. What's wrong with the child? What's wrong with you? Are you looking down on young people? Elder Yin retorted unhappily. They had come to Yuncheng with untold hardships to find an heir. Was it easy? Were they going to let Bei Yunj off just because she was young? Principal Xiang, why did he feel that this answer was not on the same page? Before Principal Xiang could speak again, he heard Bei Yunj ask leisurely. You're here. You're quite fast. Principal Xiang turned to look at her. Question mark. At this time, this ancestor was still provoking others. Elder Hu stroked his beard and walked forward. I'm afraid you'll run away. Principal Xiang, it was over. This time, even Old Master Qin couldn't protect her. But unexpectedly, just when Principal Xiang thought that Elder Yin was going to scold her seriously and coldly, Elder Yin's face was really stern. Then, he went up and snatched Bei Yunj's cup. Tell me about it first. When are you going back with us to hold the succession ceremony? Bei Yunj, Principal Xiang. What? What was going on? Elder Yin. What do you mean? Wang Huiying was in disbelief. Wasn't the laboratory planning to give up on Bei Yunj? We'll talk about it when we get back to Continent K. Bei Yunj leaned lazily on the sofa and covered her face with an open book. Aren't you being shameless? Elder Yin was furious. He had finally found a successor who was more outstanding than Shernani, but this guy was so difficult to deal with that he was not on the same level as Shernani. Principal Xiang had never thought that one day, with his own eyes, he would see with his own eyes that a mysterious and proud research organization like the Confederation 191 would start a chase after her drama in his principal's office. I said I'd consider it, but that doesn't mean I'll accept any mess. Bei Yunj's tone was indifferent. It was only then that Elder Yin realized that something was wrong. Yunj, are you angry? But I didn't provoke you recently, did I? I didn't call you in the middle of the night either. Elder Yin was about to act pitiful when he was tugged by Elder Gu, who gestured for him to look at Wang Huiying beside him. The moment he turned around, his eyes met Wang Huiying's furious gaze. Why was this person here? Chapter 1392. Elder Yin chose his words carefully. Do you have a conflict with Bei Yunj? Wang Huiying's expression darkened. Elder Yin, Bei Yunj accused me of cheating and even slandered our K University and the reputation of Confederation 191. Even my cousin, Wang Guanchen, was injured by her. Shouldn't you uphold justice for me? The principal hurriedly said, I'll apologize to you for Bei Yunj hitting someone, Elder Yin, but Yunj isn't a bad person. Who would have thought? Hearing this, Elder Yin laughed loudly. Hey, Principal Xiang, what are you saying? Isn't it normal for children to fight? It's not a big deal. It's fine for boys to get injured. I often got injured when I was young too. The principal's eyelid twitched. Thank you for your understanding, Elder Yin, but now, student Wang Guanchen is already in the hospital. Elder Yin and the other two looked at Bai Yunj at the same time. She was indeed not a good person. Although Bai Yunj has indeed gone overboard with this matter, I hope that you can give Bai Yunj a chance. However, I still hope that everyone can give Bai Yunj a chance. I also hope that Professor Wang can clarify things online. Clarify what? Elder Gu, who had been silent, suddenly asked. After the principal finished explaining the whole story, Elder Yin and the others also frowned. Huiying, you're too, Elder Yin sighed. Forget it. Explain this matter clearly and let's forget about it. Wang Huiying was unwilling to give up. Elder Yin, my younger brother is still in the hospital. How can we let it go like this? Elder Gu said coldly, if you dare to hit someone, you have to be prepared to be hit. The atmosphere was inexplicably strange. Elder Yin and Elder Hu were speechless. Could he rein in his impulse to brag a little? It was too obvious that he was biased towards Bai Yunj. Wang Huiying bit her lip. I won't let this matter rest. Neither will K University. Elder Yin was silent for a moment. Huiying, are you going against us? Elder Yin nodded. Then think carefully. After leaving Confederation 191, what is left of your Wang family? Elder Yin, why did you choose her? Wang Huiying couldn't stand the questioning. At this moment, as outsiders, the principal and Sun Jiaping wished they could run away immediately so that they wouldn't hear anything they shouldn't hear. Elder Yin also asked Wang Huiying to follow him to another meeting room. In the Confederation 191, only talents are passed down. Even Shernani was a genius of 191. Wang Huiying stared at him. But aren't you going to give up on Bai Yunj? That's because she didn't want it. A moment later. Elder Yin continued expressionlessly, think about it carefully. As long as she wants to be the successor of Confederation 191, no one can shake her. At that time, what kind of position can you hold in Confederate 191? Wang Huiying stopped talking. Also, do you want to talk to K University, or do you want me to talk to them personally? If anything happens to Bai Yunj that has anything to do with K University, our Confederation 191 will not let them off the hook. After Elder Yin finished speaking, he pushed the door open and walked out. Who did K University rely on to survive? Let them think about it carefully. Wang Huiying bit her lip and clenched her fists, trembling all over. She wouldn't let Bai Yunj have an easy time. In the principal's office. Bai Yunj, you broke his bones. Do you think you're civilized? Elder Hu questioned. Bai Yunj replied perfunctorily, yes. Elder Hu, yes. Wang Guanchen went out and you still found someone to beat him up. You're very domineering. Chapter 1393. Bai Yunj turned to look at him. Do I look like that kind of person? Elder Hu, ? Don't you know that? The atmosphere fell into a strange silence. Bai Yunj's eyelids twitched, and the corners of her lips twitched. She said slowly, the only person who can make me do things behind his back is to find someone to kill him. Elder Hu and Elder Gu, so did she think that this matter was not bad enough? Bai Yunj's ability could bring Confederation 191 back to the peak, but they didn't know how many generations of grudges she would have with her personality. Elder Hu and Elder Gu had already started to persuade the principal not to care about this matter. It was just the children fooling around. However, the principal insisted on waiting for Wang Guanchen's condition before making a decision. A few hours later. Bai Yunj didn't expect to see Wang Guanchen being carried back on a stretcher, and a group of people followed suit. There's no law at all. How dare you hit someone from Confederation 191 in school? Didn't you start it first? The person who spoke up for the injustice was pushed away. Get lost. Yun University has to give us an explanation. After saying that, he began to smash the door of Yun University's principal's office with his hand. He didn't intend to give Yunqing University any face at all. He shouted for the principal to open the door. This is outrageous. Elder Yin's face darkened. He suddenly stood up and walked out. Principal Xiang, you can just sit down. Then, just as the door of the principal's office was opened, a few aggressive people in front were about to curse, but they didn't expect to meet Elder Yin's eyes in the blink of an eye. Elder Yin, why are you here? Everyone was startled, like a cat with its tail between its legs. Even if they had the guts, they wouldn't dare to act arrogantly in front of Elder Yin. You've got guts. What kind of place is this? How can you behave so atrociously? Elder Yin reprimanded them in a loud voice. He pointed at them and scolded, let me tell you, if this matter gets out of hand, none of you will be able to return to Confederation 191. Elder Yin, at first, they were still hoping that Elder Yin wasn't here to help them. But now, in this situation, those who didn't know better would think that Elder Yin was Bei Yunji's parent. Wang Guanchen, are you sure that Bei Yunj got someone to beat you up outside? Elder Yin asked expressionlessly. On the other hand, Wang Guanchen had mixed feelings throughout the journey. He was even more afraid when he thought about the scene where someone put a sack over his head and beat him up. He would never forget it in his life. I don't know. Wang Guanchen swallowed his saliva with difficulty. Principal Xiang, look, Pei Yunj didn't get anyone to hit him at all. It's all just a joke. Elder Yin glanced at Wang Guanchen and openly defended him in front of everyone. So much so that the people of Confederate 191 were shocked. Elder Yin, you're going to blink when you're kidnapped. The principal's eyelid twitched and he suddenly looked at Pei Yunj. He had a feeling that Pei Yunj's call was to call Elder Yin and the rest. But how did Bei Yunj know Elder Yin? Bei Yunj, come here and apologize. Elder Yin brought him over. Bei Yunj exclaimed and looked at Wang Guanchen on the stretcher with interest. Wang Guanchen couldn't help but feel his scalp go numb. He wanted to stay away from this person, but then he heard Bei Yunj suddenly laugh. Student Wang, I'm sorry. There's still a long way to go. Instantly, there was silence. Was this really an apology and not an open threat? Elder Yin took a deep breath. Do you know what you did wrong? I made a mistake that every good person would make. Chapter 1394. Elder Yin took a deep breath. What was she doing? Was this a declaration of justice? Didn't she know whether she was a good person or not? Elder Gu turned around and said, Principal, she's already apologized. There's no need to continue pursuing the matter, right? This was the first time the principal had met someone who thought he was too troublesome. Bei Yunj, remember this punishment. Don't mess around in the future, understand? Otherwise, Yunqing would be overturned by her sooner or later. Okay. Bei Yunj thought for a moment and nodded. When she walked slowly in front of Wang Guanchen, Wang Guanchen instinctively covered his face with his hands in fear. It was as if he was afraid of being beaten. Bei Yunj thought of how Wang Guanchen had been beaten up on the way and raised her eyebrows. She left without asking anything. It was only the next day that she found out that she was on the trending list again. Sure, you're playing dirty with me. Bei Yunj had just finished showering after her morning run. When she saw the news, she slowly wiped her wet hair and her sneer made one's heart palpitate. Even Jian she lost in the last round of the competition yesterday. Song Yao frowned and thought of Xiang Jing again. K University was really planning to win by hook or by crook. Really? Then I have to go and see if our Jian she is crying. Bei Yunj said with interest. Usually, when Batiki and Jess finished the experiment in a few hours the next night, they would run over and cry silently. Song Yao was speechless. Bei Yunj said, also, investigate who beat up Wang Guanchen for no reason. He even made her take the blame. Song Yao choked on her water. On the competition platform of Yun University. This time, Bei Yunj came quite early, so she was the first to be targeted by Huang Zui. Hey, do we have some time to talk? Huang Zui's eyes lit up. Previously, he had been busy looking for someone among the doctoral students and graduate students, hoping that someone could win against K University. In the end, he had forgotten about this person. Wasn't he blindly looking for someone else when the king was right in front of him? I'm not free. I still have to write a reflection. Bei Yunj bit the soy milk wrapped in a transparent bag and planned to pull Song Yao away. If you win, I'll plead for you. The punishment has also been rescinded. Bei Yunj turned to her. All the punishments for this year. Huang Zui, was he trying to take advantage of the situation? Backstage. Bei Yunj decided to tell Huang Zui the truth. Actually, I was planning to come. Huang Zui began to feel that the next 3.5 years would be very difficult to endure. He watched as Bei Yunj tidied up her white coat and prepared to go out. Can he really win? As a professor, Huang Zui couldn't help but feel nervous. He leaned closer to her and said, "This group is really here to cause trouble." Bei Yunj slowly clipped the pen into the pocket of her white lab coat. She sneered softly. Her unruly youthfulness did not dissipate. She looked up nonchalantly. Is that so? Since they're already here, why don't they kowtow before going back? After that, Huang Zui was stunned for a long time. Until the entrance. Huang Zui originally wanted to say that this guy was being led by the nose by this guy's erratic behavior. However, his thoughts were interrupted by the other party's words. Your school has to work harder this time. I still hope that the competition this time will be evenly matched. When the people from K University saw Jian Shi in the spectator stand, they puffed out their chests and looked arrogant, as if they would win in the next moment. Even Jian Shi was not around. They wanted to see what tricks Yun University had up their sleeves. An old acquaintance. Hearing this familiar and casual voice, the people from K University and the leading professor froze. They suddenly felt like they had seen a ghost. Chapter 1395. Then, the main force of the competition and the professors looked at a familiar face. Their hairs stood on end. Why would this person appear here? Why didn't you greet me? You made me quite sad. Bei Yunj slowly put on her black gloves and said lazily, Lucian, Shi-Man, I've missed you for the past year. Lucian and Shi-Man felt their scalps turn numb. They wanted to escape from this world. F***ck. Can you shut up? Seeing her, they remembered the days when Bei Yunj was an exchange student at K University. This was the first price they had to pay for their youth and ignorance. Because they discriminated against the women of Country A and did not take Bei Yunj seriously, they were traumatized by this person during every research assessment. A few days ago, when they came to Yunqing, there were even people who had nightmares about Bei Yunj. You are a Yun University student. Professor Simonov found it hard to accept the truth and his vision turned dark. During this exchange at Yun University, he had completely forgotten about this person who had caused the entire K University to be autistic a year ago. You know each other. The principal was stunned. What was going on? How can she participate in the competition? After Simonov regained his senses, he pointed at Bei Yunj and questioned Yun University, his face filled with resistance. She's a student of our school. What's wrong? Why can't she participate in the competition? Huang Zui straightened his neck. Semenov was so angry that he couldn't speak. Don't think that I can't find out what happened at K University yesterday. If you dare to fish in troubled waters again, you can try to get someone else to represent you in the competition. Huang Zui chuckled. I want to see if K University is shameless. Yunj, don't be afraid. If they want to play dirty, I'll beat them to death. You. What a boorish man. If Semenov wasn't pulled back, he would have started fighting with Huang Zui. On the other hand, the physics student beside him sighed. Our Professor Huang is still the best. He fights whoever he catches. Lucien walked in front of Bai Yunj and could not help asking, are you really going to participate in the competition? He couldn't figure it out. Why would Bai Yunj appear in Yun University? Your university sent me to the social news yesterday, saying that our Yun University couldn't win the competition. Yun University students were so angry that they beat up the brother of a professor from K University. Bai Yunj looked at them again and said slowly, that's good. I've never been so angry in my life. The K University students, the atmosphere suddenly turned eerily silent. So the person who hit Wang Guanchen yesterday was Bai Yunj. Regarding this matter, Lucian's expression was unsightly, but he couldn't explain anything. They were indeed the ones who deliberately spread the news. However, the person who hit Wang Guanchen was Bai Yunj. They would never get involved in this mess and offend Bai Yunj. Bai Yunj smiled unhurriedly and said, all right, I just didn't expect you guys to miss me so much. We haven't seen each other for more than a year. It's good for us to have an academic exchange. Those who still remembered the fear of being dominated by Bai Yunj, could anyone get rid of this B****? The freshmen of K University didn't understand why these seniors, who were all influential figures in school, were so afraid of this unfamiliar Yun University student. Even Professor Semenov objected to Yun University letting her compete. Professor Wang, you don't have to hide it this time. You can compete yourself. Bai Yunj glanced at Wang Huiying with a faint smile and went to the competition stage first. Wang Huiying bit her lip, but remembered the humiliation of losing to Bai Yunj back then. Her entire body was trembling. It was time for the competition. Yunj, do you know the people from K University? Huang Zui asked curiously. I know them. Bai Yunj said casually as she scrolled through the comments under the trending topics. Huang Zui. That was it. Huang Zui snatched Bai Yunj's phone away. Bai Yunj looked up at him. I used to study at K University for a period of time. In the past. You were in your second year of high school, right? Bai Yunj thought for a moment. My brother was afraid that I would have nothing to do, so he sent me there. Huang Zui didn't expect that someone from the Qin family would have the connections to send Bai Yunj, who was in her second year of high school, to K University as an exchange student. However, he couldn't help but be surprised that Bai Yunj was only in her second year of high school, but she could keep up with the pace of K University's teaching. Huang Zui, you studied in the physics department? Bai Yunj thought for a moment. I've also studied in the physics department. She would occasionally attend classes in the physics department, computer science department, chemistry department, nuclear engineering department, and any other major that she could visit. Huang Zui, suddenly, he didn't want to ask anymore. After the competition started, the host smiled and warmed up the atmosphere, letting both parties speak on stage. However, when the host handed the microphone to Bai Yunj, the principal of Yun University's smile froze. He had a bad feeling. He didn't know if Yun University could win this time, but Bai Yunj's speech definitely wouldn't be good. Just as expected. When Bai Yunj's bright and arrogant face appeared on the big screen, the atmosphere in the venue soared. Screams rose and fell, making people think that this was the appearance of a top celebrity. On the other hand, the camera of the students from the photography team and the evil cult actually flashed and glanced at Song Yao below the stage. The heated scene became even more sensational. The officials were starting to promote a couple. Song Yao's eyelids twitched. "Junior, you're so popular. Don't you have anything to say?" The senior hostess asked with a smile, and her eyes were shining. Bei Yunj nodded slightly and leaned close to the microphone. Suddenly, she smirked. She said gently and leisurely, "I haven't thought of what to say yet. Let's talk after we win." The suppressed emotions of the students below the stage for the past few days were ignited. Master Pei is awesome. It's coming, it's coming. It's starting again. The contestants from K University were speechless. Damn. Suddenly, a student below the stage raised his voice. "Master Pei, don't cry if you lose." The atmosphere inexplicably livened up, but everyone knew that they hoped that Bei Yunj would not feel so much pressure. Bei Yunj's red lips curled up and she suddenly grabbed the senior's hand. She leaned close to the microphone and dragged her voice lazily. "All right, don't shout if you win. I'm done. This woman is being dirty in public. Pei. Let go of senior's hand, do you hear me?" The host blushed. Bei Yunj retracted her hand and tilted her head with a smile. It was as if she had heard the words below the stage, but could not hide her high spirits and frivolous arrogance. Seeing this, Bei Yunj's young fans in school almost lost their blood. Actually, Bei Yunj did not expect that the people who spoke up for her on the trending searches this time were all students of Yun University. She did not even know anyone. These people were purely protecting her. It also seemed like she had said it before. Someone was protecting her and placing their hopes in her. When the competition started, it was supposed to be a question segment. Who would have thought that the situation would be reversed as soon as the competition started? Usually, K University would not be able to get a single point in this segment. However, before the contestants from K University could even finish reading the questions, Bei Yunj pressed the answer button and quickly scored. It was as if everyone was accompanying her through the process. All the contestants in the venue were under her control. Before long, the freshmen from K University finally understood why the seniors and professors did not want this person to participate in the competition. Chapter 1396. With this speed of answering questions, was he still a human? Moreover, they realized that as long as Bei Yunj held her hand and smiled at them, it meant that Bei Yunj would not give them a single point. As a result, they were terrified when they saw Bei Yunj smiling. Not only were the K University teachers and students doubting their lives, but even the Yun University professors were puzzled. Were they the ones who taught this person? The professor hesitated. "Principal, if this goes on, I'm afraid K University won't be able to get a single point, right?" Unexpectedly, the principal came back to his senses and suddenly sighed. "The money I lost to the old master at the gambling table back then was not a loss." The professors were speechless. They did not expect the principal to win this year's top scorer at the gambling table. After K University lost the first round with 0 points, the arrogance of the K University students was instantly dispelled. Xiang Jing, who was below the stage, insisted on watching the competition despite her injuries. She did not expect to see Bei Yunj on stage today. However, what surprised Xiang Jing even more was that Bei Yunj on stage was more cold and high-spirited. It was simply enough to make one's heart go crazy. Xiang Jing's little face was filled with admiration. It was as if she had only truly gotten to know Bei Yunj today. "Brother Huang Qian, is Sister Pei going to win?" Huang Qian's eyes were filled with admiration. "She's definitely going to win." In yesterday's competition, K University still had room to retaliate against Jian Shi. But this time, they were being taught a lesson by Bei Yunj. Xiang Jing's eyes lit up when she heard this. Sister is so amazing. I want to learn from her in the future. Unknowingly, Xiang Jing treated Bei Yunj as a learning target. Huang Qian was speechless. The only person who could make this little devil submit willingly was the big devil. At this moment, Principal Xiang, who usually cared about the reputation of his school, also pretended to be blind and did not go up to stop Bei Yunj from teaching them a lesson. Yun University also knew about K University's cheating yesterday, but they did not want to give the other party a chance. However, during this period of time, K University had also vividly displayed the pride and arrogance of their teachers and students. Even though the professors on the judging panel didn't say anything, they all felt that Bei Yunj's provocation today was particularly pleasing to the eye. Anyway, he wasn't going to mess with them. However, the K University student's face turned green. Professor, is that woman really a student? Didn't Yun University specially find someone to represent the competition? Simone's expression did not look too good. I've already gotten someone to check. He's indeed a student of Yun University. The people from Yun University did it on purpose. Why didn't you allow this person to compete before, but now you agree? The contestant sneered, are you trying to make fun of us? That's enough. Haven't you embarrassed yourselves enough? Simonov reprimanded impatiently. Seeing this, the contestant's eyes were filled with unwillingness. He could only look at Wang Huiying. Teacher, can you lend us a few more people? No matter what. If they lost this time, how would they have the face to return to Continent K? Wang Huiying's expression turned even uglier. A year ago, she had never fully grasped Bei Yunj's strength, let alone the 191 members of the Confederation that she had brought along for training. Lend them. Even if she got the 191 core members of the Confederation, they might not be able to win Bei Yunj. Suddenly, someone rushed over. The school just sent a document over. Professor Wang, you guys need to confirm it. Simone asked first, what document? K University's official account praised Yun University's student for hurting people. The principal wants an immediate apology, including the person who made the mistake this time, to be dismissed. End of chapter. Chapter 1397. Everyone was panicking. It was only then that they realized who they really could not afford to offend. Only Wang Huiying bit her lip. She clenched her fists, the hatred in her eyes difficult to suppress. Why? Forget about the Confederation 191, why was even the newly appointed principal of K University, who had never seen Bei Yunj, siding with her? The students of Yun University enjoyed watching the match and felt proud and elated. However, K University was still beaten up badly, but none of them dared to scold the other party. They were like deflated balloons. In fact, after it ended, Simonov had already posted an apology statement and attracted the attention of the entire internet. This student Pei, who could make K University apologize, probably had a powerful background. However, Simonov did not bring the students who had posted back then to Bei Yunj to apologize. Bei Yunj had already left the backstage to answer a call. It was Qin Luyan. Something had happened to old Master Qin. For some reason, the old man, who had already recovered, was still unconscious. Even the hospital couldn't do anything about it. I'm sorry, Gu-er. I was afraid that you would be worried, so I didn't tell you earlier. Qin Luyan's voice made Bei Yunj's tightly furrowed brows relax. Which hospital? After Qin Luyan gave her an address, Bei Yunj hung up and immediately rushed to the hospital, not caring about anything else. However, when she saw old Master Qin's condition, her gaze gradually turned cold. Gu-er, don't worry. Brother will definitely find the best doctor to treat old Master. Qin Yu, who had not slept for a few days, comforted Bai Yunj in a hoarse voice. Bai Yunj nodded and left. This time, even the Qin couple had returned when old Master Qin was critically ill. Mrs. Qin laughed coldly. Old Master dotes on her so much, but she didn't shed a single tear. She turned around and left. I wonder how disappointed old Master will be when he finds out. Mr. Qin said coldly, you'd better take care of yourself. Mrs. Qin could only suppress her anger. This Bai Yunj had made the family turn to her. At this moment, Bai Yunj called CI7's Yun City Department. Minister Jiang Song, Max, why do you still have time to catch up with me? Bai Yunj said, I need you to investigate something for me. Jiang Song, did this person know that as an ACE Corps member, she was supposed to solve problems for CI7? She did not want CI7 to solve the problem for her. Something happened to my grandfather. I want to find out what happened. Upon hearing Bai Yunj's words, Jiang Song frowned. Old Master Qin. There's still someone in Cloud City who dares to make a move on Old Man Qin. Maybe there's someone who has eaten the guts of a leopard. Bai Yunj's voice was filled with hostility. She said unhurriedly, I'll transfer 1 billion yuan to whoever finds it first. Jiang Song's hands almost trembled. This was the true god of fortune. Jiang Song, okay, Dad. Is there anything else? If not, don't turn off your phone for 24 hours. We promise to find it for you within a day. All right. After Bai Yunj hung up the phone, she went back to the ward. He saw the nurse changing the 4 bag. Wait. Bai Yunj called out to the nurse, attracting the attention of the others. Can I take a look? Sure. The nurse handed the 4 bag to Bai Yunj. Bai Yunj's gaze suddenly fell on a tiny pinhole in the transparent bag. Someone has touched this 4 bag. Did they add any medicine? The nurse hurriedly shook her head. No one has touched it. Qin Lang also frowned. What's wrong? Bai Yunj handed the bag to the nurse, but her eyes were cold. It's nothing. She really had the guts of a bear and a leopard. Chapter 1398. On the top floor of the hotel opposite the river, Tang Boyong was still drinking and admiring the bustling night outside. He couldn't help but laugh at the thought of someone reporting the situation to him. Tang Boyong played with the reagent in the small glass bottle in his hand and held the red wine glass in one hand. He recalled what Qi Wuxiu had said to him. As long as you can control the Huo family, the Qin family is nothing. This was something good that Qi Wuxiu had sent him. It could make people fall into a coma unknowingly and create the illusion of a natural death. However, the juniors of the Qin family had indeed done their best for old Master Qin. The Qin family had discovered it too quickly. Otherwise, old Master Qin's corpse would be cold now. How is it? Is it done? Qi Wuxiu called him. The Qin family hasn't issued an obituary statement yet. He's probably still alive. Tang Boyong could already imagine that arrogant girl crying on the bed right now. Qi Wuxiu laughed out loud. You're really ruthless. You don't even care about your son. That silly girl from the Qin family is worthy of my son. What a joke. Tang Boyong mocked. With this family background, she's more like my son's mistress. Since Huashidu couldn't stop the losses in time, he had to have a backup plan. He had to let that girl from the Qin family know that she shouldn't have wishful thinking. After old Master Qin's accident, no one outside knew. Bai Yunj looked the same as usual, but for some reason, he felt that the air around her was much colder. Do you want to go down and eat something? Qin Lang asked softly. Bai Yunj happened to call. She got up and was about to go out, but she did not expect to bump into Qin Lian talking to a strange man. She only glanced at him indifferently before turning to leave. However, the strange man could not ignore Bai Yunji's existence. That is, don't tell me the Jia family wants to take advantage of my sister. Qin Lian's dark eyes did not waver, and he could not tell what he meant. You must be joking. However, we are family. Jia Jia smiled and said, my family asked me to come and take a look when something happened to old Master Qin. You guys are quite well informed. Hearing the mockery in Qin Lian's words, Jia Jia only smiled and said, CEO Qin, I just hope that you can consider my suggestion. Qin Lian knew very well why this person was here. Back then, for the sake of old Madam Qin, old Master Qin severed his father-son relationship with the head of the powerful Jia family in Continent K. He even came to Yunqing alone to find a wife and change his surname. However, he did not expect that after so many years, old man Qin was still able to start from scratch, but the Xia family was already at the end of its days. Therefore, they were still thinking about the Jia family branch in Yunqing. They could choose a new successor and let the Jia family gain a foothold in Continent K. Unfortunately, Qin Lian knew how cold-blooded the Jia family was. In his previous life, the Qin clan was tragically exterminated, but the Xia clan never appeared from the beginning to the end. Now, he was trying to get him to go back because he saw that the Qin family was developing day by day and knew that Qin Lian was extraordinary. They didn't care if the Qin clan members were dead or alive. Really? When the old man wakes up, I'll ask for his opinion. After that, Qin Lian turned around and left, leaving Jia Jia with an ugly expression. He suddenly noticed Bai Yunji, who was on the phone at the end of the corridor. Max, we've already investigated this matter. But it won't be a good thing for you if we find out. Chapter 1399. Bai Yunji waited for him to continue. Jiang Song said, it's Tang Boyang's men. Bai Yunji's eyes darkened as she asked, are you sure it's him? Very sure. Although Tang Boyang didn't meet that person, there are 3 phone records. Jiang Song frowned. Max, I suggest you investigate him again. Time was tight, so I didn't investigate further. However, the person who contacted Tang Boyang is from Continent K, I got it. Thank you. Bai Yunji replied, the money will be transferred to the account later. With that said, Bai Yunji saw Jia Jia walking towards her from the corner of her eye. She hung up the phone and prepared to leave. However, Jia Jia called out to her. You're Bai Yunji. I'm not in charge of the company. It's useless to look for me. Bai Yunji glanced at him and left without saying anything. This attitude stunned Jia Jia. Why did he feel that this Bai Yunji was even harder to deal with than Qin Lian? She was clearly young, but her gaze and natural aura already made people not dare to act rashly. The people from the Qin family are all outstanding. After Jia Jia came back to his senses, he became more interested in Bai Yunji. In the basement of Muse Bar. The room was dark and the atmosphere was oppressive. The most eye-catching thing was a huge spinning roulette and a young man who was tied up inside. Master Du, Miss Pei has also heard the news. Zhou Yu hurried over and glanced at the pale young man before continuing. The man replied indifferently. He raised his peach blossom eyes and looked at the roulette. He asked indifferently, why? Are you not going to tell me? The young man was trembling all over. He had never expected to be kidnapped here. He had never thought that he would be interrogated under torture one day. After all, he was also a member of an extremist organization in Continent K. He had done many things like kidnapping and extorting confessions from others, but he had never suffered this. Let me go. Please. The young man's voice was trembling. It was obvious that he was very afraid of the man in front of him, who was dressed in a neat suit and looked even more noble. The fear and pressure this man brought to him was even greater than that madman Chi Wuxiu. "I'll give you some time to think about how to answer me." Huashidu knocked on the table with his knuckles, and Zhou had already gotten someone to stop the wheel. At this time, however, Huashidu stood up and walked to the cabinet at the side. He slowly took a few darts. He said casually, "Let's play a game first to relax." The young man was even more alarmed when he saw this. No, no. No. However, very quickly, Huashidu had already walked to the opposite side of him. Before the young man could regain his senses, the first dart had already been thrown. A blood-curdling scream rang out in the dark room. The dart only brushed past the side of his head and landed firmly on the board behind him. The young man's ears were burning as the sharp edges of the dart brushed past his ears, causing him to bleed. First question: why did Chi Wuxiu want to harm Elder Qin? With that, the second dart with a cold luster was thrown out while the young man was tense. With another shrill scream, the tip of the knife stabbed into the board beside his carotid artery. The young man felt the burning sensation of his skin being destroyed. He also felt the madness of the god of death brushing past him. "Don't continue. I beg you, don't continue." The young man's eyes were bloodshot as he muttered. He was so cold that he trembled. He had already been forced to the point where his nerves were failing and he was extremely weak. Chapter 1400. Before today, he had even told Zhou Yu that he was not afraid of death. However, when death was not under his control, living became even more torturous. He would rather Huashidu give him a quick death. Is the second question because of Lin Longjun? The young man's scalp turned numb. He did not expect Huashidu to guess so quickly. Just as the young man was in a daze, Huashidu threw the dart on the table and picked up a clean white towel to wipe his hands. "It seems like it's really because of Director Lin." The young man looked up abruptly and suddenly realized that Huashidu did not expect him to answer at all. He was just trying to make him suffer a mental breakdown before throwing out the answer he had guessed and seeing his reaction. He was completely creeped out by this man. This was the scariest person he had ever seen. After getting the answer he wanted, Huashidu did not care about the young man's life. After Zhou Yu gestured for someone to put the young man down, he extended the rod and swung it at his back ruthlessly. The young man curled up and trembled in pain. "Take him away," Zhou Yu said expressionlessly. "Yes." The two bodyguards in black left with him. "Master Du, I will find someone to protect Director Lin, but Miss Pei," Zhou Yu probed. After all, Tang Boyang was still Huashidu's father. However, according to Bai Yunji's temper, Tang Boyang would probably not have a good ending if he knew. "Let's go to the hospital." Huashidu walked out and there was no emotion in his calm tone. "Tell the old master to keep his mouth shut." "Yes." Zhou Yu immediately answered. However, what Zhou Yu did not expect was that Huashidu did not mention anything about Tang Boyang when he went to the hospital. Instead, he went to take Miss Pei for a meal, in the hospital. When Qin Yu saw Huashidu appear in front of him in a finely tailored black suit with an impeccable appearance, his expression darkened. However, considering that Elder Qin was still unconscious on the bed, Qin Yu was not in the mood to talk about anything else. "Brother." When Bai Yunji saw Huashidu, she called out. However, she did not expect to attract the attention of the other three. Bai Yunji was speechless. Huashidu walked to her side and reached out to stroke her hair back. He asked softly, "Have you eaten dinner?" Bai Yunji looked at him. "Come back with me later." Huashidu casually pinched the back of her neck. Bai Yunji subconsciously shrank back and nodded. "Why is President Hui here?" The person who spoke was Qin Luyan. His calm eyes met Huashidu's. I heard that Elder Qin was hospitalized, so I wanted to see if there was anything I could help with. You're too kind, President Hua. Big brother, this is what he should do. Bei Yunj suddenly spoke and even held Huashidu's sleeve. Everyone present could feel that she was trying to protect him. The expressions of the three brothers changed a little, especially the regretful Qin Yu. He was the one who had King sent his little sister into a wolf's den. This scene made Zhou Yu feel that Bei Yunj was a ruthless person. Qin Luyan was the heir of the Qin family after all. He was not in a hurry to make things difficult for Bei Yunj. Instead, he spoke slowly. Although the old master's condition is not too good, it has stabilized. Currently, he has contacted many famous doctors. Huashidu's tone was still refined and calm. The Qin family's matter is also my matter. As for the hospital, I'll get someone to get Elder Qin's test results and help contact other medical institutes. With that said, the entire place fell silent. Qin Luyan sized up the person in front of him calmly. Chapter 1401. Qin Luyan was not Qin Yu and Qin Lang. He had always been observant. From the first time he saw Huashidu, he knew that this man's motive was not simple. Hearing this, Qin Yu gave a fake smile. He could not help but reach out and pat Huashidu's shoulder. Brother, I really have to thank you for being so concerned about my family matters and even helping me take care of my sister. Huashidu was quite gentle. You're welcome. It's what I should do. Only Qin Lang felt that these people were strange as he watched them speak in riddles. What's wrong, second brother? Why are you speaking so strangely today? Qin Lang was puzzled. Wasn't President Hua Qin Yu's brother? Why was he like a plastic brother who had fallen out with him today? Qin Yu's smile became even uglier. Really? Qin Lang was speechless. For some reason, seeing Qin Yu and Qin Luyan like this, he had a bad feeling. What if they were doing something behind his back? In the restaurant, Bei Yunj glanced at the message from Lu Zhongzhou and then at Huashidu. She lowered her eyes and was a little engrossed, not paying attention to her surroundings. Suddenly, a low and calm voice sounded from the side. You're not focused even when eating. Bei Yunj regained her senses and glanced at the man beside her, her eyes darkening. I won't let go of the person who harmed old master. She did not want to. However, she heard the man laugh softly. That's good. Bei Yunj's eyelids twitched. Before she could speak again, the man suddenly reached out and rolled up her sleeves. She heard the man say carelessly, Yun, no one can make you lower your head. Do you understand? You don't have to worry about anyone. Bei Yunj's heart seemed to have been touched by something. She could not help but glance at Huashidu. For some reason, she felt that this man might know everything. However, he still stood beside her. He remained firm. Huashidu, do you owe me something? Bei Yunj quickly looked away and asked heartlessly as she lowered her head to scoop the soup. The man looked at the girl beside him. From the first time he saw her, the young lady was still too slender. Now, she was so beautiful that he could not take his eyes off her. Otherwise, why would my brother treat me so well? Huashidu glanced at the obviously absent-minded girl beside him. A moment later. I just want Yun to owe me something first. The man was still calm and composed as he deliberately teased her. So that our Yun might want to go back on her word in the future and have no choice but to agree. Bei Yunj was stunned. The atmosphere was silent for a while. The man suddenly heard Bei Yunj speak. I won't go back on my word. Huashidu stopped what he was doing and looked at the girl with his peach blossom eyes. Bei Yunji's calm gaze was indescribably serious. I'll give you whatever you want. On the way. Bei Yunj was enjoying the night breeze, and her expression was a little strange. Someone was sticking to her. She felt a warm, itchy breath on her neck, and a numb electric current seemed to jump straight to her scalp. Her limbs and bones were filled with his ambiguous aura. Bei Yunj was expressionless, but her ears were red. Huashidu. She took a deep breath and pushed away the man who was deliberately sticking to her. Could this D*MN man not even tell the difference between wine and water? He even drank the sake that the waiter had sent over. If you don't stand properly, I'll go back. Bei Yunj threatened the tall man in front of her. She also regretted letting him drink. She saw the man staring at her with his peach blossom eyes, ready to make a move. It was as if he was going to lean on her in the next moment. Chapter 1402. Bei Yunj pretended to turn around and leave. However, the man pulled on her sleeve. His originally low and pleasant voice was a little hoarse at the end of the sentence. Yun. The man's deep voice was pleasant to begin with. At this moment, there was a hint of coquettishness in it, which made it even more unbearable. Bei Yunj could not stand the contrast between this man who used to have a frivolous temperament. She resisted the urge to touch his head. But not long after. Bei Yunj scanned her surroundings as if nothing had happened and suddenly looked at the man. The corners of her lips curled up. She suddenly tiptoed and reached out to pinch his face boldly, threatening him lazily. If you don't listen, I'll hit you. Do you hear me? However, after she finished speaking, Bei Yunj's hand was held by the man. He even kissed her. Bei Yunj, why was this D*MN man getting more and more clingy after he got drunk? Bei Yunj was about to break free from the man's hand, but he held it tightly instead. Usually, Bei Yunj only knew that this slender and well-defined hand was good-looking, but at this moment, she could feel the scorching heat spreading from him. Without waiting for Bei Yunj to react, the man lowered his eyes. His emotions were unclear, but he casually opened the gaps between her fingers. Their fingers intertwined. She even heard him ask word by word, "Didn't you say that you would give brother whatever he wanted?" It was clearly a very simple hand-holding, but when it came to this man, she suddenly felt a sense of restraint that made her blush and her heart race. Even the temperature and touch of their fingers slowly rubbing against each other made her feel bitter to the bones. You don't remember anything after you drank too much, but you only remember this. Alright, don't speak first. A man who had drunk too much was a little unpredictable. This was Bei Yunj's most intuitive feeling. For example, the person who had been talking non-stop in her ear just now did not say a word after getting into the car. He even leaned against the sofa and only stared straight at her. As Huashidu refused to let go, Bei Yunj could only bite the bullet and sit beside him. She put on a look that said, "I'm very fierce, you'd better behave yourself." After the man saw it, he couldn't help but laugh out loud. He laughed so hard that his shoulders shook. Instead, Bei Yunj couldn't help but take a few more glances at her. "Miss Pei, are you going back with Master Du today?" Zhou Yu asked from the front. Bei Yunj pursed her lips, raised her hand and asked slowly, "Can I leave just because I want to?" Zhou Yu did not even dare to look at Master Du. In his impression, Huashidu rarely drank. Even if he drank too much, he would only remain silent and ignore others. However, he didn't expect Miss Pei to be like a completely different person. To put it bluntly, once Huashidu drank too much, other than Bei Yunj, there was no one else in his eyes. Back at the apartment, Bei Yunj turned on the light and pushed the man into the shower. He was using a video conference to discuss old Master Qin's illness with Stephen from Country R's Medical Institute. Yes, old Master Qin's life is temporarily out of danger, but the person who injected old Master Qin with the medicine is determined to make old Master Qin either die or become crippled. Stephen frowned. Old Master Qin has just recovered from a serious illness. If we treat the symptoms and not the root cause, something will definitely happen in the next 3 years. Bei Yunji's eyes turned cold. Her voice was filled with hostility. Is there any way to solve it? The Jia family in Continent K has developed this kind of medicine that old Master Qin needs, but it's not that easy to get it. Stephen frowned. As long as there's a chance. Even if it's a mountain of knives or a sea of fire, I'll take it. Bei Yunj smiled faintly, but her eyes were bone-chilling. However, since he dares to have designs on my old master, he will definitely lose this layer of skin. Chapter 1403. The next day. When Bei Yunj arrived at the hospital, old Master Qin's condition was worse than expected. On the hospital bed, old Master Qin's face was pale and his eyes were tightly shut. The flesh on his face that he had painstakingly regained over the past year had sunk in. The atmosphere in the ward was heavy. Only Mrs. Qin couldn't help but pull Mr. Qin. "Ah, Ting, did Dad already make a will?" Mr. Qin broke free from her and said in a hoarse voice, "What are you arguing about? Dad is still lying here and you're already talking about this." Mrs. Qin bit her lip. "But there are some things that have to be settled. If old Master Qin was really going to pass away, he couldn't leave everything to Bei Yunj." Mrs. Qin couldn't help but sneer in her heart. After old Master Qin's accident, Bei Yunj was the only cold-blooded person in the family. She was expressionless from the beginning to the end. However, at this time, Mr. Qin didn't want to talk to Mrs. Qin at all. "Bei Yunj, what do you think? You should have thought about this by now, right?" Mrs. Qin asked Bei Yunj, who had been typing on the keyboard. Bei Yunj's fingers slowly stopped typing on the keyboard. "What do I think?" She didn't have any emotions in her eyes. Don't talk to your mother." Before Mr. Qin could finish, Mrs. Qin narrowed her eyes and said, "Old Master Qin dotes on you, but he might not leave everything to you. I don't want to be the bad person, but if Jiao Jiao has a share in it, I won't let anyone else take it." Bei Yunj was still typing on the keyboard. Mrs. Qin continued, "If you really dare to take Jiao Jiao's inheritance, aren't you afraid that old Master Qin won't?" Before she could finish speaking, a crisp and loud slap sounded in the ward. Mrs. Qin looked at the person in front of her in disbelief. She didn't expect this person, who was considered her daughter, to hit her. But before she could continue, Bei Yunj's gaze scared her so much that she didn't dare to speak. "Bei Yunj, how dare you?" Bei Yunj grabbed her chin and looked at her coldly, as if she was looking at a stranger. "Mrs. Qin, my patience is limited. Don't you know that I'm a monster who crawled out of hell after dying in a mental hospital?" When Mother Qin met Bei Yunj's gaze, she felt a shiver run down her spine as fear spread through her body. No one had ever seen Bei Yunj like this. What made Mother Qin even more terrified was that Bei Yunj seemed to know something. Actually, when Qin Youjiao was pushed down the stairs by Bei Yunj and got injured, the Qin brothers agreed to send Bei Yunj to the hospital for treatment because Bei Yunj did not look well at that time. Although her brothers were not close to Bei Yunj, they still arranged for Bei Yunj to be treated in the best hospital. It was Mrs. Qin who couldn't persuade Qin Youjiao and believed Qin Youjiao's words and transferred Bei Yunj to the hospital where Qin Youjiao's biological father was. However, Mrs. Qin only guessed that Qin Youjiao didn't want Bei Yunj to have an easy time and wanted to take revenge. She didn't guess that even Bei Yunj's mental illness was Qin Youjiao's doing. "Yunj, you." Seeing this, Mr. Qin was speechless. "There won't be a next time." Bei Yunj released her hand and shook Mrs. Qin off. She continued to type on the keyboard for a while until Mr. Chin left with Mrs. Chin. Bai Yunj came to old Master Chin's bed again. Pursing her lips, Bai Yunj tidied old Master Chin's blanket. Not too long later, she said softly, "I'm sorry, Grandpa." She sat by the side and crossed her fingers, clenching and relaxing her fists. She repeated this action several times. Those who were familiar with Bai Yunj would know very well that she would only be like this when Bai Yunj was anxious. "I still didn't take good care of you for her." There was no fluctuation in her tone, but there was a hint of weak hoarseness. "When you recover, if I do anything wrong, you can blame me or chase me away. When the time comes, I'll listen to your lecture." "Max, are you crazy? Are you going to snatch it openly?" Xian Yuan knew that Bai Yunj couldn't be considered a normal person at all. She was crazy and paranoid about things that she shouldn't be obsessed with. Bai Yunj asked calmly, "What else can I do? Will they give it to me if I'm polite?" Xian Yuan was speechless. F***ck, why did he have to deal with such a lunatic? "I've checked. The Xia family is the old master's family. They didn't have a good relationship in the past. I can't take the risk with the old master." Bai Yunj slowly cut the flowers in the bushes with a pair of scissors. It was also because Xian Yuan could hear that Bai Yunj's tone was too calm that he realized how much Bai Yunj cared about her family. At this moment, even if the Xia family asked Bai Yunj to kneel down and change the dressing, this proud person would probably kneel willingly. "Yunj, I know it's very presumptuous to say this, but I know more or less about the Qin family. No matter how good the Qin family is to you, it's only been for the past 3 to 4 years." Xian Yuan even felt that the Qin family had abandoned Bai Yunj once. What right did she have to make Bai Yunj do so much? "Who knew? I'm happy to." With that said, Bai Yunj hung up the call. Xian Yuan was speechless. Fine, this was an ancestor. Bai Yunj wiped the scissors playfully, looking nonchalant. No matter what she did, could the Qin family's outcome still not be changed? Suddenly, Bai Yunj's fingertip was cut and red blood flowed out. Bai Yunj's eyebrows moved and she only chuckled softly. She licked the blood on her fingertip. "I can't." If she couldn't change anything, what right did she have to occupy someone else's body? This time, she had the final say in who went to hell. At this moment, the young nurse's eyes widened when she saw that her flower had been cut off. She looked at the culprit in disbelief. What are you doing?" Bai Yunj raised an eyebrow, not feeling guilty at all after being caught. "Didn't you say that I'll help you cut it according to my mood?" The young nurse was about to suffocate. "You call this helping?" Initially, she had heard from the director that he was afraid that Bai Yunj would fall ill if she suppressed her emotions, so he specially brought her here to do something relaxing. To divert her attention. In the end, everything was fine. If the director knew that his favorite flower had been cut off, he would probably be the one who fell ill. Qin Luyan, who happened to see Bai Yunj from afar, was speechless. The space between his brows loosened, revealing a faint helpless smile. Qin Luyan walked forward and said in a gentle and pleasant voice, "I'm sorry. I'll get someone to deal with the flowers here. I'll get someone to transplant some over later." The young nurse could not help blushing when she saw Qin Luyan. She nodded and ran away. Qin Luyan was helpless. "Why are you cutting the flowers?" Bai Yunj said, "I'm asking you guys. Are you so worried that you sent 4 to 5 people to keep an eye on me?" A dark look flashed past Qin Luyan's eyes and he did not speak. After a long while, he said, "I'm sorry, Gu-er. I didn't want to make you unhappy." Chapter 1404. Bae Yunj looked up and saw an apologetic expression on his handsome face. To her. Her three brothers had always been very careful. I'm not unhappy. You can ask me if you're worried. Bae Yunj put the scissors back into the nurse's basket. I was just teasing her. I agreed with the director this morning to transplant some new varieties of orchids to him. Brother, I'll go upstairs first. Bae Yunj's eyes curved as she turned to leave. Qin Luyan also felt that Gu Er's attitude towards him seemed to have softened. He subconsciously tried his best to keep a smile on his lips as he stared at Bae Yunj's back view. Jie Jiaye also saw this scene. So, was Qin Luyan's weakness Bae Yunj? Jie Jiaye seemed to have suddenly thought of a good idea and smiled. In the afternoon. After Qin Luyan left, Bae Yunj met Jie Jiaye the moment she stepped out. Miss Pei. Bae Yunj looked up and met the man's eyes. The other party obviously had a motive. Was he from the Jie family? Bae Yunj thought of the information she had found in the morning and looked at him with interest. There was someone who came knocking on her door. Jie Jiaye felt that something was wrong under Bae Yunj's half-smile, but he couldn't put his finger on it. He just got to the point again. Can I have a chat with Miss Pei? President Qin might not have mentioned it to you, but we should be considered family a few decades ago. My surname is Jia. Then are you planning to give me a greeting gift? Bae Yunj asked coldly, so direct that it made one suspect that she wanted to rob him the next moment. Jie Jiaye was also caught off guard. He was very passive. He didn't even know how to reply. What do you want as a greeting gift, Miss Pei? Jie Jiaye forced a smile. In his opinion, the things that the young lady liked would not be too expensive. Bae Yunj was silent for a moment. My brother might not have told you that I'm preparing to transfer to another faculty in my second year. She felt that she had changed to a more acceptable way of putting it, so she said politely, I just want to study medicine or something. I don't know if anyone can send me to a medical institute or something like that. Jie Jiaye. Her tone was so relaxed that Jie Jiaye almost thought that Bae Yunj had only asked him to give her a watch or a bag. Medical Institute. Jie Jiaye put on a fake smile. He wanted to know how the Qin family raised this little girl. Was she spoiled to the point of being out of control? Asking for a medical institute. CEO Jia. Bae Yunj suddenly spoke, causing Jie Jiaye to have a bad feeling. Sure enough, she asked, are you a relative who's trying to get close to our family? Jie Jiaye, this brat. He took a deep breath and had no choice but to endure it. This lawless girl was easier to deal with than someone as shrewd as Qin Luyan. Jie Jiaye had made up his mind to find the person the Qin family could best control and bring back to the Jie family so that Qin Luyan had no choice but to agree to his conditions. Yunj, you're still young. You might not be able to continue on the path of scientific research, Jie Jiaye said. Bae Yunj asked slowly, CEO Jie, you can't bear to give it to me? Jie Jiaye's smile turned even uglier. No one could bear to give it to her. The Jie family's medical institute was the foundation of the Xia family in continent K. Yunj, if you want to go to our Jie family's medical institute to play, it's fine too. You might get tired of it in less than 2 months. Bae Yunj raised an eyebrow. Then how many tubes of medicine do I want? Jie Jiaye heaved a sigh of relief and said with a smile, of course. Chapter 1405. A few vials of medicine were nothing to him. However, Yunj, you have to go to Continent K to play for a while, okay? A glint flashed past Jie Jiaye's eyes. Bae Yunj smiled. Sure. Jie Jiaye felt that this matter was developing too smoothly, so much so that he had an inexplicable bad feeling. He could not help but look at Bae Yunj a few more times, he tried to suppress his worry. How big of a hole could a little girl poke in him? However, after Jie Jiaye left, Bai Yunj quickly answered a call. Yunj, all 4 of Qi Wuxiu's strongholds in the country have been surrounded and annihilated today. Your information is too amazing. Lu Zhongzhou's tone was filled with indescribable admiration. Qi Wuxiu had always been famous internationally. Almost all the people in charge around the world could not do anything to him. Even Lu Zhongzhou and the others had been besieging Qi Wuxiu's base in the country, but it was difficult for them to find any trace of him. In the past 7 years, they had only surrounded and annihilated 2 strongholds. In the end, last night, Bai Yunj called and gave them Qi Wuxiu's 4 strongholds. Lu Zhongzhou was afraid that they would run away if they were late, so he got people to split up overnight to catch them. He never thought that he would really catch a big fish this time. Yunj, did you find anything else? Lu Zhongzhou felt that when he received the mission to protect Bai Yunj back then, it was even better than winning the lottery. This time, after surrounding and annihilating Qi Wuxiu's 4 strongholds, he would definitely get a first-class merit in the district. No, these are all his strongholds in the country. The corners of Bai Yunj's lips curled up. Last night, Bai Yunj received the news from CI7 and dug up Qi Wuxiu's background. After calling Lu Zhongzhou, she even sent a copy of the information to the person in charge of our nation. Lu Zhongzhou, who did not know anything, was stunned. So, we annihilated all of Qi Wuxiu's strongholds yesterday. Hearing this, Lu Zhongzhou suddenly remembered something. Wait a minute, Yunj, why are you suddenly so interested in Qi Wuxiu? He had a feeling that Bai Yunj was doing this on purpose. Otherwise, why would Bai Yunj send him a message in the middle of the night? It was as if he was trying to provoke Qi Wuxiu. Thinking of this, Lu Zhongzhou could not help but feel his scalp go numb. This ancestor really held a grudge. Whoever he was unhappy with, he would drag him to raid their lair. Lu Zhongzhou suddenly felt like he was a tool for Bai Yunj. Nothing. I just want to give him something to do, Bai Yunj said slowly. Lu Zhongzhou, he was truly a living immortal. All the international parties were racking their brains to get rid of Qi Wuxiu's base, but they couldn't do anything about it. Only his father could suddenly rise in the middle of the night and wipe out all of Qi Wuxiu's bases in Country A. Continent K. There's no news from the base in Country A. Qi Wuxiu gritted his teeth and asked in a gloomy voice. The person in front of him was almost trembling in fear. They're all cut off, only there's news from our nation that our people have all been exposed. I don't know who sent a list of names to the person in charge of our nation's international affairs. They're all people from our base. All of them. Qi Wuxiu couldn't suppress his anger as he laughed coldly. I really didn't expect that we would be exposed under someone's nose. He never thought that someone would dare to go against him like this. Qi Wuxiu gritted his teeth. You bunch of trash don't even know who's behind this. P.S. Today is 4:00 p.m. Good night. Chapter 1406. That person said that other than the information provided by her, there was no other trace of the person who copied the information. He braced himself and said. The other party's actions were obviously a slap to Qi Wuxiu's face and a show of strength. But who would have thought that there was someone who could threaten an extremist organization, someone who was even more extreme than them? What kind of crazy behavior was this? An underground organization called Death Scythe had its base raided by someone who came out of nowhere. If it weren't for the fact that they had people in Country R's political circle, they might have been completely wiped out by this person this time. Very good. After so many years, there's finally someone who isn't afraid of death and dares to go against me. Qi Wuxiu gritted his teeth and sneered, his chest filled with anger. But for some reason, he suddenly had a ridiculous guess. For the past 6 months, Qi Wuxiu had been trying to get the infection data of the Northerners. However, after Tang Boyang made a move on the Qin family's old patriarch, something like this happened to him. Was it really a coincidence? Qi Wuxiu suddenly thought of Bai Yunj, who had caught his spy. But what ability did a silly little girl have to touch a deep-rooted underground organization like him? Send someone to investigate Bai Yunj and find out her background. Qi Wuxiu held the prayer beads in his hand. He still looked handsome, but his eyes were cold. Bai Yunj. The subordinate felt that Qi Wuxiu's suspicion was too ridiculous. How could a first-year student be involved in this matter? If she was really the daughter of the Qin family, she must be very capable, right? But under Qi Wuxiu's cold gaze, the subordinate still obeyed the order to investigate. On the other side, Old K from the K-assists called Bai Yunj. Max, an organization in Continent K is asking us to buy information about you. What's the situation? This organization in Continent K is famous for not being easy to deal with. Qi Wuxiu. Bai Yunj raised her eyebrows. Old K couldn't help but raise his voice. You know. Did you provoke him? Bai Yunj's tone was quite gentle. Ha! 2 days ago, I got someone to destroy a few of his strongholds. Old K, ? He felt that there should at least be a limit to how immoral one could be. What kind of King ruthless person was this? The largest extremist organization in Continent K was wiped out by her just like that. So, you're the one behind Country A's encirclement of 4 root strongholds. Were you the one who gave me the information in Country R? Old K was about to suffocate. He was really good. Did this person purposely pick the hardest iron board to kick? It's none of your business. Just give him whatever he wants. Let Qi Wuxiu know that I'll be going to Continent K in a few days. Bai Yunj said slowly. Old K doubted his ears. Say that again. He felt that Bai Yunj's behavior was very similar to digging up someone's ancestral grave and throwing paper money in front of someone else's house. What an immoral act. This was the first time he had seen someone dare to provoke the crazy Qi Wuxiu. He didn't know if Qi Wuxiu was traumatized. I'll talk to you when I go to Continent K next time. I still have something to do. Hearing Bai Yunj's words, Old K didn't know what Bai Yunj was going to do. But it was true. After hanging up, Bai Yunj read a text message and went out. There were a few conspicuous district cars parked outside. Miss Pei. Lu Jian nodded at Bai Yunj. The materials have been submitted. There's no problem with taking action at any time. Bai Yunj turned around and got into the car. Let's go. Chapter 1407. Higgins Group. In the hall. No one had expected that the son of the Fernan's family head, Tang Boyang, would brazenly come to Higgins Group to snatch the Qin Corporation's project. Mr. Tang, are you sure you want to do this? The higher-ups next to him frowned and felt inexplicably uneasy. Higgins Group's industrial chain has been very popular for the past 2 years. As long as we can get this cooperation, it will be good for our company. Tang Boyang laughed. He leaned back in his chair and turned to look at his distant junior. Isn't that right? Tang Shu. When Tang Shu came to find Tang Boyang, he was ecstatic. Tang Shu was a student from the first batch of Yun University's junior class. Later on, she had also been a core technician in the Qin Corporation. She was a rare technical talent. However, what made Tang Boyang even happier was that Tang Shu was somewhat related to him. I know all the technical cores of the Qin Corporation. There's not that much of a threat. Tang Shu flipped through the book in her hand. Her calm tone showed that she was determined to win. Tang Boyang smiled when he heard that. Because of Old Master Qin, the Qin Corporation was also in turmoil. He did not think that without Old Master Qin, the Higgins Group would take a fancy to the Qin Corporation. As for that Bai Yunj, even if he knew Higgins, he would still be a businessman. It was impossible for a businessman not to know who was a more suitable partner. What hard technology can Yun City have? It's all about spending money. I want to see how long they can hold on to the Qin family's business territory. Tang Boyong sneered and patted Tang Shu's shoulder. Higgins Group attaches great importance to the technical cores of their partners. Today's technical competition is also one of the important references for them to choose a partner. Ah, Shu, don't disappoint me. Tang Shu hid the strange look in her eyes and only teased unintentionally, of course. However, if I get first place, will Uncle Tang ask Brother Shidu to reward me with something? A glint flashed across Tang Boyang's eyes. Ah, Shu, it seems like you know Shidu. I met Brother Shidu by chance in a competition in the past. Tang Shu smiled and did not deny it. However, her fingers unconsciously tightened around the book. He's an important guest in the first row. After this competition, I can arrange for you to meet. Tang Boyang's tone was affectionate, and he was very satisfied with Tang Shu. Back then, he had been trying his best to make his mother's family, the Tang family, into the upper class of Yun City. But he never had the chance. However, if Shidu could marry the children of the Tang family would have something to rely on in the future. Shidu's future marriage partner should be a capable girl like Ah Shu who can help her husband. Not the kind that looks beautiful like a fairy. Tang Boyang's tone was filled with disdain and strong dissatisfaction. She's like Shidu's mother, doing research all day long. Is scientific research something a woman should be involved in? When Tang Shu heard the last sentence, a cold sneer flashed across her eyes. She merely changed the topic and said indifferently, I heard that the eldest daughter of the Qin family was a repeater and was admitted to Yun University later on. Tang Boyong sneered, is that so? I really don't know how she got first place in the college entrance exam. Don't worry, I'll take down Higgins for you. Tang Shu smiled. Soon, preparations for the internal technical competition arranged by Higgins began. The first row of the spectator area was filled with the higher-ups of Higgins Corporation who rarely appeared. This showed how much importance Higgins attached to the technical department. Half an hour passed. Tang Shu was indeed first in the first round of the competition. Tang Boyong smiled brightly and quietly walked to the person in charge of Yun City, Shui Jiangxian, who was in the first row. He said respectfully, Congratulations, Boss Shui. I heard that you are the person in charge appointed by Higgins Corporation's benefactor. Shui Jiangxian shook his head. I don't deserve it. It's just that the eldest daughter likes me. Tang Boyong was surprised. Is the successor of Higgins really a woman? The light in Shui Jiangxian's eyes turned cold as he smiled. The eldest daughter's talent is enough to convince everyone. Tang Boyang's face stiffened. He sensed Shui Jiangxian's unhappiness and hurriedly responded. Yes, you're right. Shui Jiangxian nodded. Tang Shu is not bad, but her thinking is similar to the technicians of the Qin family. Chapter 1408. Tang Boyang's face was full of smiles as he said, intentionally or unintentionally. The Qin Group has indeed seized the initiative in the field of science and technology in recent years. That's why my junior stayed in the Qin Group for 2 years. She was once the technical leader of the Qin Group. These words were clearly telling Shui Jiangxian that the technical core of the Qin Group was brought out by Tang Shu. How could their strength be compared with Tang Shu's? Shui Jiangxian looked at Tang Shu through the screen and nodded with satisfaction. Tang Shu is good. She was even not inferior to the core members of Higgins. Really? Tang Boyong laughed loudly. Then I'm really looking forward to the cooperation between you and Higgins. Who would think? As soon as he finished speaking, a voice not far away attracted everyone's attention. Then I'm sorry to disappoint you this time, Mr. Tang. I'm afraid you won't have this chance. Tang Boyang's expression changed. He turned his head and did not expect to see Lu Jian. This was the famous cold-faced Hades in the investigation team of Yun City. Captain Lu. Tang Boyong inexplicably had a bad feeling. Lu Jian thought that Bai Yunj was still waiting downstairs on the phone and smiled quietly. It seems that Mr. Tang also knows me. Then this matter will be easy. As soon as Lu Jian finished speaking, he walked up to Tang Boyong and handcuffed him before anyone else could react. Tang Boyong suddenly raised his pale face. He could not suppress his panic. Captain Lu, what do you mean? Tang Boyong had done some research on some important people before coming to Yun City. The Lu family behind Lu Jian was not a small family. So Tang Boyong also knew that he should not provoke him. I'm sorry, Mr. Tang. I just got the evidence of the murder of President Qin of the Qin Group. All the signs show that you can't get away with it. So today I'm here to inform you that you have to go back with me. Lu Jian's words made Tang Boyong panic. How was this possible? Didn't the Qin family not even find out whether old Master Qin was poisoned? Where did they get the evidence to link him? What nonsense are you talking about? Lu Jian, Mr. Tang, you know whether I'm talking nonsense or not. But if you have any grievances, you can go back and talk slowly. Let go. Let go. I'm not going back with you. This has nothing to do with me. Tang Boyong suppressed his panic and struggled with all his might. Even the scene was in a mess because of this unimaginable accident. Until a cold voice rang out. Let go. Everyone turned around and saw Tang Shu walking out. She narrowed her eyes and said, Captain, you need convincing evidence to arrest someone. Moreover, Mr. Tang is not from Yunqing. Lu Jian said, so far, according to our investigation, it was 3 people from Continent K who tampered with old Chairman Qin, and the only domestic phone contact of these 3 people is Mr. Tang. Tang Shu sneered, what can this prove? Could it be that Captain Lu heard from the conversation that it was Uncle Tang who did this? Miss, are you trying to obstruct my work? Lu Jian did not back down. Mr. Tang is a key suspect, so it's only right for him to cooperate with the investigation. Really? Then you must give me a good reason. Otherwise, I can't let you touch Uncle Tang. Tang Shu was unexpectedly calm in the face of this matter, but Lu Jian's eyes slowly sank. Suddenly, he received a call from the higher-ups. Jian, are you investigating President Qin's death? The people from CI7's Yunqing department came to ask. Someone is protecting Tang Boyong. Let him go first. Lu Jian's face darkened even more. What? Why? Don't be reckless. Just listen to the higher-ups. There's no need to confront CI7 at this juncture. After that, the other party hung up. Lu Jian turned around again and saw Tang Shu looking at him with a smile. I told you, Captain, you can't take away the person I want to keep. At this moment, Tang Boyong turned his head abruptly and realized that the distant junior who came to him because he thought she had no one to rely on actually had a background that could not be underestimated. Let's get to know each other again. You're Captain Lu, right? I'm Tang Shu from CI7's Yunqing department. As soon as Tang Shu's voice fell, the surrounding people looked at Tang Shu differently. This girl was actually from the International Intelligence Organization CI7. One had to know that CI7 was the #1 international intelligence organization. Not only did it communicate with tycoons from all over the world, but it was also because of CI7's intelligence that country R was able to avoid a financial crisis more than 10 years ago. Such an intelligence organization could even influence a country. How many people from all over the world were racking their brains to build a relationship with CI7's internal personnel? But who would have thought that this young girl was actually a member of CI7's Yunqing department? Facing everyone's gazes and envy, Tang Shu was used to such a home ground and remained expressionless. Captain Liu, it's time to unlock my uncle. Liu Jian's face was dark as he held the keys in his hand. The team member behind him could not help but say, Captain Liu, are you going to let him go? Miss Pei is still waiting downstairs. Bai Yunj again. Tang Boyong snapped out of his daze from Tang Shu's true identity and could not help but sneer. I really didn't expect that Shidu would really spoil this woman to the point of lawlessness. Does she think she can be so unreasonable in front of me? Because of Tang Shu's unexpected help this time, Tang Boyong valued Tang Shu even more. His tone was mocking. Ah Shu, this Miss Pei is your schoolmate. I should let you meet her another day. Miss Pei has quite a temper. Tang Shu only smiled as she suppressed the strange look in her eyes. She did not expect Washidu to fall in love with someone who was not worthy of him. Suddenly, a clear and lazy voice sounded from the elevator not far away. There was a hint of playfulness in the voice. Why? It seems like someone wants to understand me again. Hearing this, everyone turned around abruptly. Especially Xue Jiangxian, who had originally sunk after hearing Tang Boyang's words. At this moment, his eyes could not help but light up with excitement. However, when Tang Shu saw Bai Yunj walking towards her, her face froze. It had to be said that this person in front of her did have the ability to make men fascinated by her. Miss Pei, I've long heard of your name. Tang Shu reached out her hand to Bai Yunj appropriately. I'm Tang Shu from CI7's Yunqing department. In the eyes of others, Tang Shu did not put on any airs. Instead, it was the eldest daughter of the Qin family. She was indeed worthy of Tang Boyang's words, lawless. Bai Yunj glanced at Tang Shu slowly. Her every move was unbridled. She said, Captain Liu, it's 5:30 p.m. now. It's not time to get off work yet. Liu Jian, as a well-known researcher, can you read more books and read more newspapers? Even CI7 was interfering in this matter. How was he going to arrest her? Chapter 1409. Miss Pei, with me here, I'm afraid you won't be able to take Uncle Tang away. Tang Shu smiled and broke the silence. Also, if you don't have a good reason, you'll be handcuffed for your offense. Mr. Xue, aren't you going to ask someone to send the guest out? Tang Shu turned around and asked with a faint smile. When Xue Jiangxian heard this, the way he looked at Tang Shu became unpredictable. Then, without Xue Jiangxian's order, no one in Higgins dared to move. Until Bai Yunj sneered and walked slowly in front of Tang Shu. Miss Tang, you don't seem to treat yourself as a guest. What do you mean? Tang Shu sneered. She had investigated Bai Yunj in CI7. She was a lucky girl who had been found and brought home by a wealthy family. It was impossible for her to have anything to do with Higgins. Miss, I heard that something happened to Mr. Qin. I've been worried about you. Are you and Mr. Qin okay? Xue Jiangxian suddenly spoke without hiding anything in front of everyone. At this moment, the others realized that the new manager of Higgins was overly respectful to Bai Yunj. The old man is receiving treatment. He's fine now. Bai Yunj glanced at the people around her and asked, is today a technical competition? Yes. Xue Jiangxian nodded. The technical competition was set up by Bai Yunj. Therefore, it was impossible to work with Higgins if one didn't have some skills. You guys can continue. Don't let the Chin family go through the back door. Bei Yunj played with the rolled-up paper in her hand lazily and said in a casual tone. Xue Jiangxian was speechless. How many times have you called me to let the Chin family go through the back door? At this moment, when Tang Boyang and Tang Shu saw that Bei Yunj was so close to Xue Jiangxian that they had the illusion that Xue Jiangxian didn't dare to offend Bei Yunj, they were inexplicably shocked. Who was Bei Yunj? Why was the new manager of Higgins so cautious in front of her? The business world knew very well how difficult it was to deal with the new manager of Higgins. Compared to Niayu, this person was harder to fathom, and he couldn't see any weaknesses. But today, Xue Jiangxian was actually respectful to a young lady in her early 20s. It was as if Bei Yunj was not someone to be offended. It seems that Miss Pei and Mr. Xue are very close. Tang Shu's expression turned ugly, but she still smiled and said, Why don't we ask Mr. Xue to help us resolve any misunderstandings with Uncle Tang? Mr. Xue, there's something you can help me with. Bei Yunj stepped forward and handed the paper to Xue Jiangxian. Xue Jiangxian opened it and found 2 pieces of paper inside. One of them was an official document from the Cloud City Theater of Operations. The other was a red arrest warrant from Interpol. Arrested person, Tang Boyang. Date of arrest, December 7, 20XX. Official Seal Department, International Criminal Police Organization. Official Seal Department, Yun City Theater of Operations. Command. Xue Jiangxian was stunned. Even Lu Jian was rendered speechless by these 2 documents. Interpol red arrest warrant. Where did Bei Yunj find such a big shot to issue such an arrest warrant? Unfortunately, Mr. Tang, Miss Tang, no one can stop me from taking anyone away today. Bei Yunj spoke slowly, as if she had suddenly thought of something interesting. She chuckled lightly and said, You don't say, it's quite offensive. Chapter 14:10. Tang Shu felt cold all over. She looked up and met Bei Yunj's eyes. Her superiority in front of everyone seemed to have dissipated in front of this person. I'm a little curious. What should I do? Miss Tang, so what if I offend you? Bei Yunj's frighteningly bright almond-shaped eyes were not smiling at all, as if she could see into the depths of a person's heart. Tang Shu froze. Her face turned pale. She didn't know why, but facing this person, for the first time, she felt so ashamed that she couldn't show her face. At this moment, the atmosphere of the whole place instantly froze. For some reason, even though no one knew the identity of the eldest daughter of the Qin family, no one dared to provoke her. Captain Liu, it's time to get your job done. Bei Yunj glanced at Tang Boyang casually and turned to leave. Tang Boyang panicked when he saw this scene. He couldn't help but threaten, Bei Yunj. How dare you treat me like this? Aren't you afraid that Shidu will fall out with you? Tang Boyang roared furiously from behind. The others were silently watching Bei Yunj make a fool of herself, but the people in front were indifferent. Is that so? Then everyone present, don't talk nonsense in front of my brother. Bei Yunj's tone was slow as she said with a smile, It wasn't easy for me to trick him, I don't want to cause trouble for anyone over such a small matter. Xue Jiangxian, Lu Jian, look, as long as you're righteous, it doesn't matter if you're a human or not. After Lu Jian got someone to handcuff Tang Boyang, Tang Shu quickly struggled out of this ridiculous sense of inferiority. Bei Yunj. Tang Shu was almost gnashing her teeth as she gloomily watched her leave. But Bei Yunj didn't even turn back. This made Tang Shu feel that standing here foolishly was more humiliating than being slapped in public by this woman. Tang Shu sneered and took out her phone to make a call. Then, she followed her to the police station. Captain Liu, what's wrong with you? Didn't I tell you to retreat? You even brought her back. When the colleague saw Lu Jian, he immediately pulled Lu Jian aside as if he had seen a ghost and asked in a low voice. Did he think that he was being promoted too quickly and was trying to get punished? The higher-ups gave the order, Lu Jian said. What order? I heard that Tang Boyang's people from CI7. We don't have to be rash and cause trouble. His colleague said bitterly, aren't you afraid that the director will hold a meeting with you? See for yourself. Lu Jian stuffed the documents into his colleague's hands. His colleague didn't care at first, but when he saw the 2 documents, he was stunned. International Criminal Police First Investigation Organization's Red Warrant. And from the War Zone Command. Her colleague couldn't help but raise her voice. Where did you come from? You'll have to ask that father. Lu Jian raised his chin towards Pei Yunj. The colleagues asked that girl. How could she possibly know someone from the war zone, and even someone from the International Criminal Police Organization? Just as the colleague was in a daze, the bureau chief that the 2 of them were talking about arrived. What was even more unexpected was that Tang Shu, whom they had just met, was with him. Tang Shu smiled and glanced at them. In the end, her gaze stopped on Bei Yunj. Bureau Chief Yang, sorry to trouble you with this matter. Why are you being so polite with me? Bureau Chief Yang asked with a smile. I know that Bureau Chief Jiang values you. I wonder, how is Bureau Chief Jiang recently? Tang Shu straightened her back and smiled gently. Since Bureau Chief Yang is so concerned, why don't you ask Bureau Chief Jiang yourself later? Bureau Chief Yang's eyes widened. Bureau Chief Jiang will come today. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.